Hey, well, that's a
Hello.
peaceful way to start a conversation, huh?
That
Like
was a very nice way to start this one.
a very nice
Mm-hmm.
Sunday afternoon little lull. I have to thank Counter Talk for helping me out with that lovely little piece. I like my
Yes,
flying book.
I
It
do
makes
too.
me, yeah, but and the music is means a lot to me. So thank him for that. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the panel, Kim, always grateful, and
Thank
Jared,
you.
our human, two of my favorite human beings who happen to be of the female persuasion to talk about this issue today. And I'm not being biased here. Everybody's going to be welcome eventually, but I wanted to start small to begin with. Um, it's been a rough week. I think we can. The word SCOTUS is now means something different when it comes out of everybody's mouth than it did last week.
It does.
It has a
Mm-hmm.
different tone. It falls rather than sails. At least for me, right
Right.
now. Um, for me, I'm feeling just a little disappointed. But let me just say, welcome to those names that I could see in the chat before we get like heavy into it. Sandy, Adam, Dan, Autistic Shield. Oh, I see Jared and Always. They're right there in there. You
Of
guys are in the
course, they're
chat
in
too.
there.
Nikki, how are you, Nikki? Faulty, Jean, Liam, and Luke, and Shay. And so, those of you that come to support, these conversations are not the most giggly. They're not entertaining to the point that you're going to have, hmm, let's say you're going to have an informative time. It's going to be information. It's going to be a way for you to get your feelings out if you need, or to talk about it, wrap your brain around it a little bit better. But to think it's going to be one of my most jovial things, no. This the part of me that some of you know from before, but it's going to be facts. It's going to be information. It's going to be the real deal, so that when you're out there talking about it, you got something to use to go forward. Because we're all angry. We are angry, but anger isn't going to fix anything. No. Anger isn't going to be a way to talk to others about it because they won't hear us if we're angry. They won't listen. It's going to be hard enough to get anybody to listen. So we have to do it in the best way that we possibly can, which is my goal. And I'm not preaching to you. I'm not telling you how to do it. But this my way. Everybody has their own way. This is my way of dealing with it. I deal with the information. Um, that's what settles me. That's what
Mm-hmm.
helps. You know. So on that, which one of you would like to talk first? Because I don't want to be the 90%er here. See.
Mm,
Oh,
either or,
Like,
Kim, if you want to go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, where do we even want to start?
Um, we could
Mhm.
just start with the beginning and just tell them why we're talking about it. That
I was just gonna say, like,
what
what makes you
yeah.
want to do this? Like,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. That's a good start, Jared. Let's start with that, Jared. Why do you want to be up here talking about this?
yeah. Uh, Honestly, I just want to scream into the void for a minute and like
Mhm.
have somebody else. Like, I'm not going to change anybody's mind. That's never going to happen. I just want to know that someone else out there thinks like I do. Like, I'm not crazy, and this sucks. Like, it just sucks. You know, that's kind of where I am.
It does. Yeah, I agree with you. I've heard that from so many people.
Yeah.
Um, mm, it
I'm more of the emotional type today, not the intellectual. I'm coming
that's
straight
okay.
from just
That's right.
feelings.
No, that's good. You know what? And everybody's that's it. This how can you not?
no,
Yeah.
there's
You
nothing
know,
wrong with that.
especially Jared, you are. You're younger than I am. You can
Hmm.
still, you are still,
Well,
you are still able to bear children. You're still in a reproductive
technically,
of your life. Yeah.
yeah, I'm 38, but I chose to tie my tubes 3 years ago. So I was in a state that allowed me to make that decision for myself. There are some
Hmm.
states out there that my partner
Yep.
would have to agree that he was done having children before I could make that call. Like, and I have three
Wow.
children
Mm.
that I want them to have the same rights I did when I was trying to have them. Like,
You want your daughter to have choice, right?
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like, they are all, eventually will come to this passage depending on who their partners are and,
Hmm.
how they end up in life. And I just want them to be able to end up down the same road that I was able to have some body autonomy and, that I was just given a fucking choice. And right now it just doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, in my life, I was given a choice too. And
Mhm.
you said, just what one of the things that I had read. I've been doing so much reading the last week, so you'll forgive me. The statistics are going to just like start flying out of my mouth, like every time somebody brings something
Yeah.
up. So I apologize for that. It'll look like it's a little haphazard, but it's kind of how my brain works. You mentioned tubal ligation, and
Mhm.
already clinics and private practitioners are receiving phone calls like crazy from women
Yes,
listing tubal ligations because they don't want to get into
Yes.
this. They're
yeah,
not. They're like, okay, right? Yeah.
yeah,
There's been a slight bump already. It's only been days. What is
right.
next look
Right.
like?
There
What is
was,
like 6 months
yeah,
going to look like? When it's a shame they're causing a crisis that doesn't need to happen because
exactly.
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is making abortion illegal or banning it is not going to decrease abortion. What it is going
No,
to do is increase risk and to health care all across the board in contraceptive and in treatment of disease and women's issues all over
Mhm.
those are the clinics. It's going to cause a national health crisis for women. That's what it's going to do. It's going to decrease the availability of education, which prevents unwanted pregnancy or the need to have an abortion. Okay,
Right.
it's like it's actually a backward step because it's going to do more harm than good as far as all the things they want. They want less unwanted pregnancies and less abortion, and that's not
Mhm.
going to happen. What's going to happen is less safety,
yes.
less
Yeah.
healthy options.
Hmm.
Less education, less contraceptive management. All of that because they're going to use it as a springboard.
Right.
Um,
But here's the other caveat to that. So like, I was in Arizona when this happened, so I got to make the choice that I was 35 and I'd had 3 children. So
mhm.
they were cool with it. There are states out there that if you were under the age of, I believe it's 21 or 25, I can't quite remember, and you are not with a partner, you cannot electively choose to tie your tubes or to have them removed. There are women out there who desperately want to get rid of it all. There are men out there who choose not to have a uterus anymore, and they can't get that option. So they're taking, like, we already had that roadblock in place for us. Like,
Mhm.
and then this is
Right.
another one. Like, we
Right.
truly don't get any autonomy anymore. And
Mhm.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's just, I've been doing research on this for years just because I am inquisitive, and it was more about maternal stuff. So I was really into like what I could and couldn't do as far as like having children and not having children and what my friends were capable of. And now this is a whole new rabbit hole I've really just gone headfirst down.
I totally agree. They're just not getting the actual, momentous of it, It's
No,
you
because
know,
like there's people out there that want to do it, and there's still already roadblocks that I think a lot of people don't realize are in place that have been for 20 years.
yeah. And,
Right.
when they did the original, part of the opinion of one of the judges when they did the original opinion on Roe versus Wade said that although they were not really comfortable getting into the whether abortion should be legal or not legal, what they did understand at the time that they made the original opinion that guaranteed, kind of like a constitutional right for choice. Okay. They said based on us wanting to make women equal on and agreeing that we are productive just as equal as a man, that they had no choice but to give us the choice to it, because anything else made us less. And yet they did this, which, what does that say? When one of the reasons that they put it in place in the first place is that they could trust us as being strong enough to make these decisions and not be willy-nilly about it and all of this, because the statistics that they're putting out there about abortion are incorrect. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Less than 1% of abortions are late term. Less than 1%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are usually typically wanted pregnancies who have no other option.
Who have no other option because it's a compromised fetus or there's something wrong. Okay, and they're not telling you that. Okay,
no, those are grieving parents who are losing their, this person they were gonna bring into the world, and they have to make a gut wrenching decision. Like, they don't bring that part into it,
and that's one of the hardest things.
Mm-hmm.
A parent.
They are absolutely disregarding a whole percentage of our population, which is those that cannot afford to do as they wish when they wish. Those who will not be able to afford to even go to the next state, can't afford the gas, the travel, the time off of work. Okay, because their budgets are because they are living right at the poverty level, if not below it. Okay, how are they supposed to afford to be able to access any care that's not right there? They depend on their neighborhoods. They basically shop, live, and work within walking distance in all of their own homes. And how the hell are they supposed to get safe birth control? So if anything goes wrong with them, female-wise, where are they supposed to go? What are they supposed to do? They're just being quite discriminatory. For the Supreme Court supposed to be protecting the rights of everyone and looking at the Constitution, to do something so backwardsly unconstitutional as far as I'm concerned. Okay, abortion is not mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, but you know what? Neither is religion. But we always say, let's keep religion out of politics, right? Let's keep it out of state. Keep religion out of state.
Right.
Okay, but they're not. Okay, I know that this is more, it's not even necessarily, I don't want to say it's a religious belief, but it is a belief. You're either pro-choice or you're pro-life. Okay.
Right.
What we've always said when running the country and the law is that a person's personal belief should not be pushed upon another. Okay. And that's what's happening here. That's what states are doing. Okay. And the states aren't necessarily listening to their own populaces too.
They're not.
I've been looking at the polls to some of the reddest states that have already banned abortion. And yet those that do not believe that they would ever have an abortion, and they don't believe in abortion, still believed in a woman's right to choose.
Exactly.
They did not want to take it away from them. They just didn't want to pay for it or give it free. They wanted it to be your choice. And there are ways to express your opinion that way without stripping someone of their rights.
Right.
Without telling them what to do with their own body. What is that we always say? Conversation and compromise. Not happening here.
It's not.
This is not a compromise. No.
And to bring in the religious right of it, it makes it a very Christian-centered religious right. And so I've kind of nosedived into like the Jewish faith, and that's part of like at birth is when that person becomes a person.
Exactly.
So you're taking that option from an entire religious sect that isn't seen in a country that's however many years old. Like,
and just
everyone forgets that not everybody's Christian.
Yeah.
So the fetus who does not have a developed brain has more rights than the woman with a fully developed brain that is actually carrying it. Is that what they're saying? Like, is that what they're saying? I have no right, okay, that the fetus without the brain yet has more rights than I do. That's offensive on so many levels. I can't even. It is, you know, and you were saying before that you needed your spouse's permission in some states, and then sometimes in matrimony and stuff, I can understand that they want to make sure that people aren't doing things behind and about the legal age 18 and stuff. Some of it I get, you know, I do. I think that they intend it to be a good thing, and then it turns bad. But did you know that your husband could go get a vasectomy and not even tell you?
Right.
You know. And that there's actually legal cases in divorce to where the woman was like, no, he had a vasectomy and I got married to have children. And that's like a violation. Like, I should be able to get a divorce and he should have to pay for everything. And they were fighting as if he had a right to do that behind her back. And I'm like, wait a minute. If a woman did that, she'd get kicked to the curb. If a woman went and tied her tubes behind her husband's back when they had intended to have children, like they got married to, you know, to have a family together. Well, she wasn't being honest and tied her tubes because she changed her mind and she didn't tell him. He could sue her like left, right, and bounce her to the curb. You know, like within seconds in the court. You know? It's like revert. It's like so. Oh, you know, it's oh gosh, it's just the hypocrisy is what gets me. You know. That was the ruling, two rulings. In one ruling, they had the New York gun case. They decided that the state couldn't decide whether or not you could carry a gun into a public place or not. The state doesn't have the right to do that, but the state can tell a woman she can't have an abortion.
What I can do with my uterus.
That, make up your mind. Make up your mind, Supreme Court. Like, are you going to interfere or you're not going to interfere? You know, states have the right or they don't have the right, you know.
Exactly.
So, is it because of your personal, is it your bias? Like, I thought the court was unbiased. And, you know, naive me. I know they've been stacking it for months and years. I get that. But the premise of it, the reason it was instituted in the first place as the highest court in the law, where we go when things just get out of hand, so somebody's looking at it in black and white. No emotion, no bias, black and white law. That's what's supposed to happen there. How can those two rulings be like that if that's what's happening there? Like, that's confusing to me. And I understand I'm not a scholar, I'm not a legal, you know, I'm not a lawyer or a doctor or a political, you know, political science major, any of that. But to me, just common sense, that doesn't work. How you can make one decision one way and the other decision the other way, based on the same thing, that they should not interfere or they should interfere. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't want to think that it's gender biased, but I guess, unfortunately, as a woman living through the years that I have, and I've had some of the best ones because I'm a post-60s, you know, baby, and many of us, just about all of us here are, we've had it a lot better than our grandmothers and our mothers, you know, great-grandmothers, you know, and I don't want to see it go back. I don't want to see my daughter, you know, and any future children of my grandchildren. I don't want to see it go back that far. I don't want to.
Exactly. That's the way I feel too. You know, it's like childbearing days are over for me, but I have a daughter. I have a daughter-in-law. I have two beautiful granddaughters and two wonderful grandsons. And I just want them all to have their choice, no matter what it is. I want them to have autonomy over their own body and their own decision making.
Yeah, I do too. And there's long-term thinking that's not coming into this. First of all, have you seen the articles about the companies that are stepping up in the
Yes.
states? All right. First of all, what happened immediately is there were 13 states that had trigger laws.
Right.
That said, if this happened, we were warned in May that it was leaked. That this is where they were heading with it. And that was probably going to go this way. And so people were getting prepared. There were 13 states that had what they call trigger laws in effect, that if it did get what they were going to go right ahead and ban it. Oklahoma, Arkansas, right? Is it?
Uh-huh.
Arkansas, Oklahoma,
Missouri, I think.
Missouri, a few others. I could give you the list. I will actually in the description. It's just I'm overwhelmed with statistics right now
I
in the name
know.
of things. But actually, there were quite a few, and they were ready to ban it in some way, or to eliminate funding, or to do whatever it was that they had planned, to do, because they just do not support the actual procedure itself. They want to just get rid. They don't want it happening at all anywhere around them. They don't want to pay for it. They don't want the option. Some of them have penalties they're putting in place,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of scary to me.
Yes,
Like,
it
you're actually
is.
going to be penalized. Well, on the other hand of it, there were actually other states on the other side that support a woman's right to choose, that were putting in implementation of laws that protect women that cross the state lines to
Right.
use their services, so they couldn't be sued by their home state for doing it.
Exactly.
Because actually some of them have what they call that neighbor law, whatever,
Right.
where you can like turn your neighbor in for having, an abortion, and sue them,
Mm-hmm.
sue
Yeah.
them for taking the life of a fetus. I'm beyond. There's a
Dobbs
stream.
back.
Yeah, that was my, what the hell Texas stream
I
from
know.
a while back. Most people on YouTube, that's how they were introduced to me, on a soapbox screaming at the top of my lungs about what the actual F Texas. Like, what are you like, the person driving the person having the abortion to the clinic could get named in the suit.
Exactly.
The clinic could, the
Yeah.
doctor, the nurse, anybody who
I know.
like helped. I was like, if you took an Uber, would the Uber driver be penalized? Like, what
Exactly.
the hell?
How,
Like, it
how
was
far are
so,
we going to take
yeah,
complicity
it was
in this?
so ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Now, listen, when it comes down, I do understand that there is an issue, and please don't, like, you can come for me, YouTube, like, I'm ready. I'm a woman, I'm prepared. I'm going to make this statement anyway. Okay. When we talk about it's the woman's right to choose, yes, it is. It's your body. You got to carry it nine months. However, if you are in a relationship with someone, or you have contact with the person that helped you get in that situation, conversations need to be had. You cannot exclude them as if they have no rights also. They have a right to an opinion, and they have a right to the field. Yes, you have to go through the 9 months, and your opinion outweighs, it's your body. I get it. But do not be so offensive as to exclude the people that are around you that contributed. And I'm talking about the men.
Uh-huh.
You didn't get pregnant by yourself. You're not going to solve the situation by yourself if you're doing it the right way.
Right.
In my humble opinion, as a bear who's been in that situation, okay, because there are options, right? I mean, it's all about compromise in conversation. Yes, you'd have to go through the 9 months, and yeah, there's going to be financial impact. You could lose career opportunity. It's not what you want. But if that gentleman wants to be a father, and he wants to take that child and go into it, maybe there's something you guys can work out, whatever. Have the conversations, at least, as uncomfortable as they are necessary. Because
Exactly.
as much as we want people to protect our rights to body autonomy, we have to prove ourselves to be compassionate, intelligent individuals that deserve that right.
Right.
Okay. Or they will strip it from us, as they're trying.
Yeah.
Well, if you've decided to have sex with someone and it ends up being more than a one-time thing, you need to have that conversation no matter
You
what your
do.
dynamic is.
You
If
would.
you're in a relationship, if you are just there for the physical need, you have, if you're adult enough to have sex, you're adult enough to have that conversation.
You are.
Like,
You would think. be surprised. That's how I ended
know.
up speaking so loudly when with the Johnny Depp case and about men too, and really clamored on that. Situations with my own brothers, with friends of mine, with ex-partners of mine that had previous relationships that were, people just were completely excluded. And that's not right either. Humanity is humanity, and if we want to be treated with the dignity that we feel we deserve, we have to give it. I'm not saying take it on the chin, and I'm not talking about, let's be clear, I'm not talking about incest and rape and these kind of things, okay? When you are violated in a way against your will, what you do about it, I do think is for your own mental health, you have more rights.
It has to be.
It has to be.
It has to be.
Because the healing has to happen. But there are cases now where women have had the children and rapists are actually suing them for the child.
Yes.
Yeah, Louisiana.
There's one in Louisiana right now.
Yep.
He won, I believe.
He did win. Yeah.
Yep.
So that kid is now in full custody of her rapist father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the other thing that's horrible too. And the other thing is when a woman, when it's an unplanned pregnancy and you're not already in a committed relationship or marriage, or even if you are, and the man said he didn't want to have children, but you're having let's say an accidental pregnancy, they happen, right? If the woman decides to go forward, and then the man is then held responsible forever in regards to that child. And then sometimes these women are not even having conversations with them. They're just leaving, having the child, and then suing them later. And that's not right either. Like those conversations have to happen in both ways. I understand both sides of it. I don't think men should be responsible. Like if you have the conversation about having a child and you're not in a committed relationship, say like you have a one night stand, but you're friendly with the person and you're going to let them know, and then they decide that they don't want to have anything. An option is to walk away and sign away their parental rights. Yes.
Exactly.
And then at least you have the knowledge that you're going to be alone in it, and you can use that information to help make your decision.
Right.
But you cannot force them to be responsible for your decision. Either party cannot force the other to be responsible for their decision. It's got to be a little more fair,
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish it was kind of like that in all situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like those situations are like rare and fall between where people actually, we hear more about the horror stories, don't we?
We do. We really do.
Like I think that, well, I'll add my little personal story in this whole thing. So a lot of people like to bring in rape and incest as part of the reasons why abortions happen. And yeah, that's a lot of it. But there's also medical reasons. When between my oldest and my middle child, so I was actively trying to have children, I lost one, had a miscarriage, and I had to have what's called a DNC, and I couldn't afford it. It was $5,000 to go to a hospital, and I didn't have insurance. So I went to a clinic. It was the only way that I could have help because my body wouldn't finish the process of finalizing the miscarriage, basically. And a lot of people forget there's 4 health reasons. Like I was septic. I truly was on the verge of dying if I had just let it keep going. And we forget that in the part of the conversation, that there's those of us who wanted those pregnancies, wanted those children, and it didn't work out for us for whatever reason, biologically, environmentally, it just didn't work. And so that option's not there anymore. If this were to happen to me now, I was reading an article and it happened to a woman, she can't, if she lives in a state that doesn't allow abortions, she's stuck. I mean, we were literally back in the turn of the century where women are dying from pregnancy. And we are a country that has the highest maternal death rates in any, what's it called, industrialized country,
right.
or...
We're supposed to have such great health care, and then why is that?
We don't.
We don't. Yeah, right.
I was lucky and had my children in Arizona. I live now in the South. If I had lived here, or if I am a white woman, if I had been a woman of color, more than likely, statistically, I would have died because I have pregnancies don't do well in my body.
Mhm.
You know, we're always taking that risk with every pregnancy, as perfect as they are,
Mhm.
that we can end up, stroking out or dying for whatever reason. And people forget that medically there are some times, like, if I had decided not to, that means my oldest would not have a mother and my husband would be a widower just because I didn't have that option.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people just don't take that in consideration. It isn't about because I didn't want that child. I did. I mourned the loss of that kid. But
Right.
because of that, I got to have 2 more beautiful, healthy children
Mhm.
because I got to save my
It was
fertility health.
right because it was handled appropriately because you got the care
Right.
you need
Right.
and the opportunity.
And
But here are
mhm,
the gross statistics that they are ignoring. They
yeah.
want there to be less abortion. Okay. But what happens is if we look at the abortion rates themselves, they are happening by the young, in the
Mhm.
poor, and the uneducated more often than not. Okay. Now, I
Right.
am not trying to label anybody or anything like that. Those are the statistics. Okay.
Oh, it's
That
okay. I mean, I couldn't afford
young,
$5,000. I'm pretty poor, so like I
young
was not in
women
a
are
position to afford it.
still getting pregnant more often unwantedly than any
Mhm.
other statistic out there. And poverty level, below poverty level, or just above happen to
Right.
be biggest target area for that. And here's the reason because they do not have access to good regular healthcare anyway.
Exactly.
The education,
Exactly.
contraception, okay, and
Mhm.
those clinics because everybody's so worried about the word abortion that they're closing
Right.
down those clinics that can actually prevent abortions from becoming necessary.
Right.
Right.
Okay, they are actually it's like an it's like a catch-22. They are cutting
Mhm.
off their nose to spite their face. It's
Right.
Yeah.
ridiculous to me. It's so damn obvious. Okay, all
Mhm.
every single medical profession out there weighed in after SCOTUS and said, "Oh, we don't agree. You have
Yeah.
just put
Right.
the whole population. You put half of the country at risk. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
really
put
are.
women at risk because now you have created a vehicle where actually needed healthcare and services. You won't let us educate. You won't even let us
Mm-mm.
have sex education classes in school because you're worried about teaching
Exactly.
about sex. But you know what? You don't want your child to have sex that's your job to educate them when and where. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's everybody's job to make sure it's safe. That's what that's what we should do as a country is to make sure it's safe, to make sure that
Mhm.
things like consent are widely known issues and talked about. Things like prevention are widely known and talked about. Okay, and
Right.
so that people aren't put in the predicaments where they have to violate their own personal beliefs or their family guidelines or whatever, like
Mhm.
prevent the situation because knowledge is power, not might. Okay, not will to do it my way. Knowledge is power. Okay, knowledge is prevention. Okay, information can prevent tragedy, like not
Yeah.
not the other way around. you know
No. You have to have the conversations as
You do.
uncomfortable as it is.
mm-hmm.
Like part of me feels, I mean, I remember when it happened, I used to be somewhat embarrassed, like I had failed because I'd wanted that kid so much. But then I was like, and
Mm-hmm.
then I finally had to, I put it out there because I had announced the pregnancy. I was like
Yes.
I was in my second trimester. So people knew. And I had so many people privately message me. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. This is not something to be shameful of. It just
Mm-hmm.
didn't work for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
That kid didn't happen. And I had 2 more beautiful, perfect children. Like, I don't want the shame involved anymore. Like, who
Right.
fucking cares? Like, it's not your
Right.
story to tell. It's not
Mm-hmm.
your story. Like, you can have compassion or empathy,
Well,
but you can't
here's
have
the
judgment in someone's story,
Right.
that's
you
the
know?
thing, the judgment and the shame that they're putting on people for even
Mhm.
fighting for the option. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know about you
Right.
guys, like the things that people call you when you just want the option. We're not even doing anything yet. I could
Right.
sit here right now and say I tried like hell for years to have another child and went through
Mhm.
law loss after loss. I'm not going to get out there and say everybody should just have an abortion. Of course not.
Right.
But do I stand behind every person, every woman and man's choice to actually weigh in on whether that's a choice to be done? Yes, it should be. It's their decision, not ours.
Yeah.
Who are we to
Mhm.
judge? Who are we to judge? Because the medical professionals, and I don't care what you think about your religious beliefs or where
Mm-mm.
you in your brain have the scientific knowledge of where conception begins, like whether life begins at conception. Yes, the process starts. It does for animals and all too. Okay,
Yeah.
like it's okay. Let's just be clear. We're not gonna like take what happens organically and just say like that is automatically a sentient being. Okay, because we all
Mhm.
know this it comes from the brain. Can we at least agree on that? As wherever you
Right.
are in your scientific knowledge and your understanding of the process, let's just say the brain needs to be engaged to be sentient. Let's just
Right.
say it that broadly. It's not. It's not in
Mm-mm.
most cases, or up until so many weeks. So what are we arguing about? What are we arguing about? We're saying the same thing. You're just
Yeah.
semantically deciding to prove a point because you want to stop
Mhm.
everything, and you're not going to stop it. You're just going to
Mm-mm.
make it worse. You're just
Yeah,
going to
my
hurt.
heathen atheist ass would take any evangelical Christian to a clinic any day and no judgment. Like, I'm there. But that's
Exactly.
all I want in return. That's
Yeah.
it. I'm not asking for the world. I just want the same liberty I would give to you. That's it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Charlie, I don't necessarily agree with that statement because I know many gentlemen your age who
Yeah.
also don't. And it's because perhaps you're a cautious, thoughtful human being and you're not just going around like, you know, mm, willy-nilly, and that your
Right.
Yeah.
partners feel the same way. Like, actually, I would say that was more like your sexual life has been functioning as an adult.
Yeah.
I
I think
wouldn't,
so too.
and I would give you a lot of credit for that. I
Right.
would actually say that would be more like a shiny badge than not.
Yeah.
So,
And also,
but
it is really difficult to get pregnant. So you only have 3 months out of 3 days out of a month to
Yeah.
1 day out of the month to get
One
pregnant.
day.
And it has to perfectly align. So in 1 year, you have 12 options to get
Yeah.
pregnant. And that's it.
yeah,
It's not
and
some like
and
all
yet
the
it's going to
time
be,
ready to
and yet
go.
the
You get
shame
12
is all
shots.
on us, and yet a man,
Mm-hmm.
365 days a year, millions
Yeah, we
of
get 12 days.
Okay,
Yeah.
we get 12 days. They get 365 days a
Mhm.
year, billions of opportunities, multiple times a day. If you're one of
Yeah.
those, and you could be, it's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listen, like, why is it the after effect on us instead of like?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying go out there and do anything, and I'm not man shaming here. Absolutely not. You all
Mm-mm.
know I love men. I support men. I am a humanist, equal, whatever. There are differences
Yeah.
that I totally honor and totally respect. Okay, but why is all of the onus on us? Most of it is for birth control and unwanted. And you know why? Because we're the ones that are gonna have to have the time off of work, have 9 months with our body being
Exactly.
compromised, have our body. Let's just be clear. Once you become pregnant, your body has changed forever.
It
Ever,
is.
Yeah.
forever. The
Ever.
chemical, science, people, science, facts, okay? Your
Mm-hmm.
body changes forever, not just physically, but inside, chemically.
Yes.
Our hormone balances are off and change again.
Even
Something
our brain
clicks.
changes.
And our
Yeah.
brain is scientifically proven that our brain changes and we go into caretaker mode for the rest of our
Yes.
damn lives as soon as we become pregnant. Now,
Exactly.
if that isn't a number one reason not to carry toward terms, if you do not want to give up everything to take care of the rest of the world, okay, I'm overemphasizing here, then why wouldn't a young woman in her 20s want to perhaps not carry a child to term as much as she believes it? Because it
Right.
will alter her life and the way she looks at life for the rest of her life.
Exactly.
Fact, proven, scientific. No religion, no lack of religion involved. Just science.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I read
that's the
somewhere during pregnancy you get 70 years worth of hormones in those 10 months of gestation.
I know.
Yeah,
It is.
it's
It's a
crazy.
and it's not. You know,
Yeah.
it's a glorious thing. I'm not shaming it at all. I've been through it, and
I'll be honest with you, pregnancy sucks. I had 3 pregnancies. My first one was great. My last 2, one put me in an ambulance, and then the other one, I get preeclampsia though, so I have blood pressure issues. Pregnancy sucks. It's the worst. It's
and
horrible.
other women absolutely love it. They just
Oh, yeah.
Some women love it. It's the best thing ever. I think it's
loved it.
horrible.
They feel the best that they've ever felt in their life. You know, but
I
it's
loved
different.
it.
It's different for everybody. But that's why it
See,
needs
that's
to be.
amazing. I'm very honest. It sucked. But I did it 3 times over.
I know people like that too. So, yeah. But I mean, my first pregnancy was rough. It was, but I enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah.
But it was a very
Oh,
high
I
risk.
didn't.
I mean,
Yeah.
we almost lost him so many times.
Oh,
And
geez.
he
That's.
was
and
a preemie.
You feel like a ticking time bomb the whole time.
Yeah, he was a preemie, but you know, he did well. And second pregnancy, high risk then, and no problems at all. But then once I married my second husband, because those are from my first marriage, we decided that we wanted a child, and there were problems on his side. And so we went through fertility treatment, and we did have implantation of triplets. And within the first 6 weeks, we lost one. So then we were down to 2. And we lost those at the first of the last trimester.
Yeah.
And they were so small, they were beyond micro preemies, and you know, not viable past more than a few hours. And you know, it was rough, but
you know what, to look in the chat and to see so many men supporting the fact that no one has the right to force anyone to bear a child, full stop. Thank you, Liam. And I agree with that. That's just a right, you know. And those of you men offering support to the women that are upset, and those of you that are even from foreign countries here, just saying, I'm sorry that this is happening. Thank you.
yes,
It is nice to be heard. It really is.
Thank you
And
very
Robski,
much.
I understand that your country is very similar to ours right now, a
Yeah.
little older in their stance against it, and a little more solid and firmly as far as debate. They don't give as much. Here, I fear what's going to be happening. You know, I actually fear what's to come based on the issues that are coming up, because there doesn't seem to be a reasonable way for people to talk about it much. Although we're trying, several of the people around us, and I see that. And I want to see that happening more, but I also see the extremists picking up the flag, so to speak, and you know, going the other way with it. And I'm not really comfortable with that too. I don't want to see it turn into a red and blue fight. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not. It's a human rights issue.
It is.
It's more what the ACLU should have been doing instead of what they were doing. You know,
right?
Where is the Civil Liberties Union today
on
this? Okay, like, okay, could you drop fucking Amber Heard on her ass already and get over here with the rest of us women? We're done with that. Okay, we're done with that.
Yeah.
Okay, could you get over here on something that actually is going to affect everybody, please? Because
and it's not just like cis females. Like, you also have to bring in trans men and non-binary. Like, all of them that can give birth are now being forced to give birth, and they don't want to. Like, you know, I mean, it was kind of that show, like the pregnant man that came on TLC. That was kind of like just a fallacy. Well, it wasn't a fallacy, but they made it into a TLC, like dog and pony show. But it's a real reality for trans men out there.
But here's the thing, like, this is what the medical community, I've done a lot of it with the medical community lately. In the last 2 days, that's been a lot of my research, and the percentages, it's all been
That's
like association. They're all coming out against. And what they're saying is we're setting a really terrible precedent. If you allow states to interfere in good medical care just because they don't agree with it, they are interfering with something they don't know about. They do not know about medical care. They are not doctors, okay? And all of these organizations are against these laws that they're putting in effect. They say they are putting people at risk. They are damaging the profession. Okay, isn't healthcare in enough trouble in the United States?
Oh my gosh.
With access to
Right.
it, we're going to eliminate whole populations of types of healthcare providers over this type of an issue. And it also puts at risk, if they can tell a woman she has to have a child, can they tell someone they can't have gender altering surgery? Could they outlaw that? Could
That's
they
what I was asking. We were talking about that at work.
all the other acceptable medical procedures that help people live
Mhm.
good, productive lives afterward, take them out of the trauma of whatever is going on?
Right.
You know, gender reassignment is necessary in some children. I mean, it's necessary because of
Oh,
how
yeah.
they're born. Okay.
Yeah, and then you bring in intersex people.
Are they
That
going to
also
go
adds
and
to
say
it.
that they don't have rights to that either? That you don't have a right to know who you are? Is that what
Right.
they're going to? I mean, this
Could
is.
you imagine that
this is what I fear.
what's it called? Body distort? No, what's the word I'm looking for?
Body dysphoria. Mhm.
Thank
Body
you. Yes. Could you imagine? Like, I just can't. And I'll never know what that feels like.
Mm.
I know.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember, Claire, when I worked in another state in a large metropolitan area for a county hospital, we had a young child, an infant, close to the year mark, come in and had a lot of
Mhm.
like bladder, kidney, bowel problems. And we realized that the child was born with both a vagina and a penis.
Yeah. All
Mhm.
right, and that happens,
And
you know.
the only way we could figure out was they had to do chromosomal testing
Mhm.
on
Right.
the
No,
child
and they
to
do,
figure
and
out.
that right. But are they going to weigh in and say, like, that's what I mean? If they can tell you that you have to do this, they can interfere medically with what we want to do as women. What is the next step? Where are they going to
Yeah.
stop interfering medically with what needs to do? And they don't know. They're not listening
Right.
to the medical. But first of all of the information that they have quoted and how they made the decision, the medical societies have come out and questioned every single part of it and said they were wrong.
Uh-huh.
You're using
Right.
not even the correct information to base your position. Your
Exactly.
percentages of actual procedures are wrong. Your percentages of term are wrong. Your percentages of when development helps wrong. Some of the pictures they used were absolutely wrong. Do you know on the internet, people were putting out pictures of elephant and other babies, fetuses,
Right.
and trying to say that they
Yeah.
were human and look at the big brain at this month of development. Wrong. It's a big skull. It was a damn
Uh-huh.
elephant, and
was an
elephants
elephant,
are
yeah.
huge. You know, and don't think that there's not people out here that are going to catch you. Don't be idiots, okay?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
Right.
not
I've seen it with the
ignorant.
dolphins,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Listen, if you have to fight with misinformation, you already lost. Sit down and
Right.
shut
Exactly.
the F up. If you want to come out with facts and statistics, you want to have a real conversation about real things, that's another story. But if you're going to argue with lies and bullshit and alter photographs and use elephant fetuses to try to prove your point, step off. You've already lost.
Exactly.
You look
You've already
idiot. You
lost
look like
that
an idiot.
conversation.
You look like an idiot, and there's no conversation to be had. I am allergic
Yeah.
to ignorance. I am allergic
That's
to it.
like such a long reach.
Yeah, that is
Right.
it is but that's what's happening already.
It
Within
is.
it, like one of you put that in there, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you
I know.
absolutely kidding me?
It's
They're
just-
already doing like, oh my god, yeah,
Mhm.
this is like real information. And here I am with real information and facts, just like the two of you, trying to get the information out there and supporting their right to believe whatever they want. Just don't make me, and don't try to legislate it like I got to do it your way. That's not cool. You're taking away rights, and
Right.
there's, you know, I wonder, is this going to be the first time that the Supreme Court gets sued?
Possibly.
Oh, maybe. I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Can they
So,
get sued? I gotta find that out.
yeah. You know how we started talking about the companies that came out and were going to pay for like travel expenses and that sort of thing?
Right.
And now I hear people are saying that the only reason those companies are doing it because they don't want to pay for maternity leave. Like, where is your stance on it? Because I I'm kind of in between of like, I really like that these companies are offering that to their employees that want to go out of state, who have to go out of state.
Mhm.
But it also makes me feel like, are they really also doing that? Because
Well,
they're saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, are they
yeah,
using it as a ploy against us again?
I
But
don't think so for the most part. I know
yeah.
the president, CEO, I'm not sure her exact title, of Dick's Sporting Goods, a
Mhm.
female.
Right.
She's very, she's, you know, she's so supportive, and she has been very, very open about, you know, supporting children, supporting medical care. So, you know, she is just, and she always wants her employees across the board in stores to know how much that company supports their rights as humans in everything that they do. Um, I don't see her as being a person that
Yeah.
would that would even cross her mind. So I think that's another kind of almost fallacy. Maybe some
Okay.
might be doing it, but I think for the most part they're doing it because of the greater good. I honestly do. You know, that's of course that optimist that wants to believe that, but that's
Right.
how I'm getting by right now. Is that I have to just believe that that's what's going on. And honestly, that's another thing that it's kind of had me thinking. I'm looking at these companies now that
Mhm.
are offering this and supporting this, and it's making me want to give them my money even more. I will give them my money over their competitors, you know, and
Right.
like with some other things that I do, some of my art and everything, I have opportunities to affiliate with different companies. And there's one big arts and crafts store that I will not even enter, and I haven't entered
I,
in years.
I, and
Yeah,
you
I know
don't
which one
want
you're
to say
talking
the
about.
name.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
say the name. Can I say the name? Because I'm from the East Coast. I know you guys from the South. You don't want
Yes.
to say it, but can I just say
Oh,
Hobby
I
Lobby?
would say it,
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby.
Mhm.
I have no
They,
And they
trouble
don't
because
treat
saying
women
it.
well.
they
Mm-mm.
They
actually
don't.
will only contract with healthcare insurance that will prohibit the selling of.
Exactly.
Their women cannot get contraception. However, the men
Mhm.
can get Viagra and the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicodin,
Of course they
but
can.
the women cannot get tubal ligations, nor can they get birth control under the
Right.
insurance for that employer.
And I can't,
And the
once
problem, that
they,
was a big case actually
yeah,
because it goes against
once they
the
came out
federal
with that,
violation. Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
once they came out with that, I was like, yeah, I
hmm
I could never support a company with that
Well,
type of a stance.
and that's
Never.
all right.
Mhm.
Like,
Same.
that's how you can go back. That's when I'm going to bring this up right here because that brings a big thing. Here's the other side of the issue. Besides it being just offensive on so many different levels, what they're doing to cut their nose off to spite their face. These states. Let's just talk about the states. Let's forget about SCOTUS, even though this was a conversation about SCOTUS. Let's talk about the after effect of the states that are actually legislating the bans against it. What they're doing is, you see the largeness of those companies that I'm putting up here on the screen? Those
Yeah.
Oh
companies,
yeah,
those are some of the biggest
major.
corporations in America, okay? And they came out within hours and said, hey, women, will help you. If we're in a state,
Yeah.
you get health care in our state, and they're saying you can't have it, we'll pay for you to go somewhere else to have it. That's bullshit. These
Well,
companies have
and
come out already and said, that's
yeah,
bullshit. That's bullshit, Texas. That's
yeah.
bullshit, Arkansas. That's bullshit.
And
All
Claire,
the other ones.
what I really like,
Mhm.
what I really liked about seeing this was I
hmm
noticed, because something that I've been looking at the past few weeks is lobbyists, because that's
Yes.
another great
Well,
way
that's a dirty
to
word to me,
contact.
though. That's a
I
freaking
know
Mhm.
dirty.
it is, but Amazon is in the top 5 in lobbyist
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah.
Well, and Amazon's on this
Meta
list. So look out,
Meta is
state.
in the top
Because
5. of lobbyist
Because
groups.
here's the thing: if the women organize, and the men who support them organize against the healthcare company, healthcare insurance and everything, if they decide to weigh in on these and not make it a payable procedure or whatever in those states, if they organize against these employers, other employers, or against the state in general, where do you think these companies are going to be putting their new places, their biggest offices, when their leases are up and their little tax breaks are over? Where do you think they're going to go when women don't want to work for them if they're in the state of this or in the state of that? Okay, when it becomes so costly for them to provide these services because they believe in them, that they have to send everybody to other states all over the place and pay to travel, pay extraordinary health benefits for them. When does that become enough of a hassle that they move their companies and you no longer have the tax revenue? Are you all going to leave the United States? Are you? Or you all going to pull a Texas and try to drop off? It's going to be interesting. Because the long-term effects, it's like I can see the tumbling. Not only is it a backward step in rights in general, and believe me, civil liberties union should be on here. And if there is a way, and I have to investigate it because my little legal brain is going, can the Supreme Court be sued? This would be interesting. Could you imagine a class action suit of all of let's just say the 61% of Americans who actually support a woman's right to choose actually sue the Supreme Court for saying no?
Yeah, and then I wonder who would
Because
sue them.
the
Would it be
Supreme
the
Court
Attorney General or
he's supposed
Pentagon,
to represent law for the people, right? Not the party. So I wonder.
No,
I'm just being a jerk. I know I'm being an asshole, but I always told you all I'm an asshole. But I own it.
You're not being an asshole. You're fine.
Claire.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I found. And this is on Justice Law. Pursuant to the general rule that a sovereign cannot be sued in its own courts, the judicial power does not extend to suits against the United States unless Congress, by statute, consents to such suits.
Okay, but Congress was for the people, so could not Congress set forward with enough votes to say, yes, people, you're allowed to speak up against the Supreme Court on this? That's what you just said to me in English, right?
Right.
And doesn't Congress also supposedly work for the people?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
It says that the judges of Supreme Court justices, they have immunity from lawsuit.
Personal immunity. We can't sue them. All right. Okay. So let's say if we can't sue them personally, can we sue them as a body to disjoint them and start all over again? Can we yeet them? I want to know. Can you legally yeet a Supreme Court out?
Claire.
Yes. I want to yeet the Supreme Court.
They can be sued for judicial misconduct, or bad personal behavior.
Actually, ignoring 61% of the population could be considered bad manners.
Bad personal behavior on my part.
Then you have to think about: are you suing the ones that? Because it was 5-4. So are you only suing the ones that?
Nope,
voted?
I'm yeeting. Nope.
All of them, all 9.
There's actually, when you take the to actually take the appointment, you actually get immunity against personal prosecution. However,
so it's not you. It's
and I yeet the whole damn court. I will just say you didn't do your job. You didn't represent the people. You're yeeted. You're gone. We're starting over. Out. Here we go. Out. You're all out. I want to yeet them. Definitely. Yep, all of them. I'm sorry about the 4 who tried to do the right thing, but you got to go too for us to accomplish this. You're gone.
That's fine with me. Yeah,
that's fine. You're still gonna what? Like you were a Supreme Court. You're paid for life anyway. So what?
Yeah.
Sit down. Yeah. Let us. What we got to do? Take your money. Go. It's okay. But those 5, they ruined it for you. Just so you know. Y'all yeeted.
This was a group project, and half the group fucking sucks. So you all have to go.
Exactly.
It's an all or none. It's like pass or fail.
And I know I'm making fun of it, but it is an interesting concept.
It is.
I think is. I've got to be.
You gotta have a little humor in all the destruction and chaos.
I do. You know what I say, humor mandatory, and if you didn't bring it, please leave. Because damn, when we're talking about the hard stuff,
Right.
if you don't actually try to ground yourself a little bit in it, the irony of this situation gets me. Like the irony between those two SCOTUS rulings, the gun control ruling and this one,
I
it just
know.
blows me away. I'm just
I
like
know.
I'm flabbergasted. Actually,
Yeah.
isn't that a word? Isn't that a big
Yeah,
bear word?
it just wasn't computing in my mind for a while. Like
Mm-mm.
it just,
I can't.
it was like the two sides of my brain. One had one,
Mhm.
and the other had the other, and they weren't
Mhm.
meshing.
Because
Going back
that shows it's not about a kid. I mean,
Mhm.
really, truly, that boils it down to you aren't.
Exactly.
You don't give a shit about children.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Um,
Sandy says, wait, no, that was the wrong one. Oh, it was this. Thank you, Sandy. But Shay says, yup, they were graded as a group and they all failed. So
Yes,
yeet,
thank you,
boop, there
Shay.
you go. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
Mhm.
why we have to do it, because SCOTUS is a lifetime appointment. I know that.
It is.
But yes, you can have a lifetime appointment, you can be paid, but can
They
I
can be
yeet the damn
impeached.
court for
They
failing?
can be
Yes, I think I
impeached.
can. I
Well,
want to
I
try.
mean, I think so. I just got laid off, so I don't see why they can't. Like, you
They
know.
actually, it
Yeah.
actually has to go through an impeachment process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
but
fair.
can you impeach? Yeah, but you can impeach an individual. Can you impeach a whole damn court?
I don't know about the whole damn court.
Because it's failed process enough to failed
know.
process. It would have to be. Like, I can't believe I'm
Mhm.
taking this so serious. I'm actually got my legal hat on and I'm going, okay,
Right.
what would be the precedent here? It would be actual failure to the commission, okay? And the commission is to
Yeah.
the people. So
To
if
the
we could
people.
prove that the people didn't want this, maybe. But also the Supreme Court's, even if the people want it, it's the Supreme Court's job to keep it in black and white based on law. So we have to find the
Exactly.
law. We have
And
to
I
find the
feel like
legal
they
avenue.
went outside. I think they stepped way into the gray, murky water on this.
Yes, when they started looking at weeks and when is viability, all of
Yeah.
that. Yes, they did. That's not legal. That's not legal
No.
law. That's not law and precedent, is it? And
No.
they didn't even use the solid medical foundation information too. They wanted to deny the science at the same
Exactly. You
time.
know, they're not even at this
Mhm.
point taking medical
Yes, so
considerations.
Mhm.
there I go again.
Mental
Is there
health
not a way?
consideration.
Yeah. Is there not a way to at least say recall, recount based on failed process? On you didn't do your job, you approached it the wrong way. That's not how it's done. Back to square one. Try again. Try
Right.
again. Do better. I wonder if there's a way to get them to do
Yeah.
that.
And do it better
But
this time.
I'm sure better minds than I are looking into it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going crazy.
Mhm.
But I'm sure, I'm hoping a better minds than mine are looking into it and can find a way just to have it readdressed in a
Yeah.
in a
Claire,
way. Yeah.
go ahead. Finish your thought.
I would say when they handed it back to the state, could they not have said, without violating a person's personal rights as you do so, that every state has the right to make a
Exactly.
law best for their embodiment in their territory, but they do not have the right to violate a person's personal rights. And if they had just made that one statement, this
Yeah.
wouldn't be happening.
Exactly. It wouldn't.
Mhm.
They have the right
But
to say they don't want to pay for abortion, don't they? But they don't have the right to say you can't have one.
Exactly.
yeah, but I think it hasn't. I mean, I could be wrong about this. I don't know so much about statutes and laws, but hasn't it always been like you can't even like pay for that as far as like being state funded? Isn't that kind of tying with like sexual education? You have to do this, or we won't give you money, and you can't fund this, or we won't give you money. Isn't that part of like what has always been around?
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what's going to happen
Yeah.
Oh,
all
okay.
throughout the schools everywhere. All of that funding. That's where when we were talking
Oh, I
about
see what you're saying. Yeah.
health, that's all going to be affected now. This way,
Okay.
yeah, because the states have the right to just deny funding for everything now that has anything
Right.
to do. And they will if they
Exactly.
think that it's just going to stop there. That's the little,
Yeah,
not
it's not going to stop.
it's not going to stop there. Actually,
No.
yeah.
No, because now it's going to become that.
Isn't it a great
like
idea?
ours.
Shay
Yeah.
says, let's do a fundraiser and call Camille Vasquez.
Right.
You know, I would, except for I don't know her politics on the issue. I'd have to find out first. She may be all on the law side of it and say, I'm not messing with the Supreme Court. Are you crazy? Like, whatever they say is gold. Like, that's it. Like, deal with it. It's a state issue. Go argue with your state. Which I am fortunate in New Jersey. I'm kind of mostly pro, okay? And I'm surrounded by several states that are definitely all blue and with the ability to travel within an hour to get anywhere. It's not going to affect actual residents of my state as much as it is most of you. You know, we'll be clear. The whole center of the United States is in jeopardy. Women there are in crisis. They're in crisis now.
And I mean, I'm down here in the deep South,
Mm-hmm.
where it's, you know,
No,
Yeah, I'm not as far south, but I grew up like in the deep South from Mississippi, but I'm still in the South, and it like it's not.
You are in one of the jeopardy states, right?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely
Yeah. I'm in the blue area of a red state, so it's like my little pinpoint is okay, but not so much the rest of me.
Well, state funding, which means even if you're blue, you still won't get funded. It'll still be a state law. It'll still it's going to affect you, you know.
And then I wonder, like, you add in the other layers of, like, was it Texas that started saying they wanted money if you reported your neighbors and stuff?
Yeah, that's the neighbor law. Yeah, that's the neighbor law. Because
And
they
then
didn't have the right, before SCOTUS said this, they couldn't make a law that said it was, they could ban abortion. So they wanted to make it so like difficult to have. So a great jeopardy to the person who wanted to have it in the state or to provide the service. They went and used the population against everybody instead of a law. And which I thought was like, oh gosh, how clever. They couldn't do anything because they knew it wouldn't make it through. Okay, but now they can, you know.
Right.
Now they
Which
can.
brings in like the new thing where they've started saying, like, if you still have a period, stop tracking it electronically, get rid of it.
That
all
you
of our
guys
stuff's being sold by
that's
tech
a
companies
big
now.
panic. All of the tech companies, like all of the people that have those apps, are like freaking out. You know what it is? It's like they're starting to freak out. If you were actually going to say that it's not my right to have one, when are you actually going to throw me in jail for having one? Like, that's where they're at. They're like, well, if you could tell me I can't have it and it's illegal and it's just not to be done, then when will I be persecuted for it? It's almost like handmaid's tale. You're going to go to jail. You're going, you know.
We're really getting to the point. Like, one of my coworkers who is Jewish, and he was telling me a story about his great grandfather, who, you know, unfortunately didn't make it through. And he was like, we used to think my grandmother, I think is what he was saying, was telling the story about how he was a little crazy. And actually, no, I get that wrong. His grandfather did make it. He did survive. But he has a star and they kind of kept it, but he turned into kind of a paranoid guy. And he's like, we used to laugh at him. Be like, this is nuts. He's like, now I understand what he was saying. Like, shit's really happening again.
Exactly.
And it starts small and it's a little bit, and you have our sides who are like, guys, this is nuts. Like, you really have to see what you're doing. But no, once again, it's just screaming into the void. No one's listening to us.
How did
and like, even when we're
far and then just slide back so much, you know?
Well,
and it's just astronomical. Like, how many people have to say, I don't want to do this. I don't want this to be a part of my life. And you just don't listen. It's very dehumanizing. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is. Another thing I got to thinking about today is how many of our own personal, private rights are going to be violated because of this. Because of the government wanting our medical information. Yeah. Which is now a violation of my HIPAA rights.
It really is.
Definitely, well, the states will. We have to be careful because it's not going to be the federal government doing anything.
No,
it's going to be your individual state. And
your
state being able to draft legislation that says they own your rights, your reproductive health care chart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
And
like
then that
that's
adds
why
into like
everybody
the
was
tech stuff.
panicking about the
Yeah.
apps because they figure it's all electronic, and as soon as a law like that went into effect, like they wouldn't have any control of the information being transferred and all of this other stuff.
Right.
So,
It's
and
all out
because
there.
of those neighbor laws where you could just like report, kind of make it like civilly sue somebody, civilly,
Right.
not like criminally. No, that's not there. We're not saying criminally, but they made it so that you could civilly sue someone for taking the life of a fetus. So like if you were tracking the girl next door's period, some old lady, the busybody in the neighborhood that knows everybody's business,
That knows
she could
everybody.
make
Right.
a fortune. She could make a
Couldn't
fortune,
she?
just tracking period apps. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
I know I'm making fun, but hey, this is where we're at. I mean, this is how ridiculous it is. It's like
No, we really are
1984.
in like
It's like
sci-fi
1984.
territory. Fucking
Animal,
weird shit.
Animal Farm and the
Uh-huh.
Handmaid's Tale all wrapped up into one.
Exactly.
It's just
Right.
like I just can't. And I used to love sci-fi. Yes, faulty witch hunters. It is, and they make everybody out for themselves too, which is a little heartbreaking. A little bit.
Yeah, because people are, also driven by money. So how much is your basic neighbor's freedom worth to you? Some will do it for a little, and some will do it for a lot. You just have to find the right number, and they'll sell you out.
Exactly.
There are statistics out there when it comes to caring about freedoms. Everybody cares more about their own individual idea it is for themselves, and actually will have a different idea about what their neighbor is entitled to, what the person standing to. It's funny. They will strip their rights down in a second, if it benefits them. But they don't want it done to them. It's kind of like, do as I say, not as I do. Serious.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And
pretty much. Yeah.
Which is so crazy. So I went to Catholic school. I grew up Christian. I left the church when I was 17. So I've been out of the church longer than I was in the church. And I just think for something that's so drilled into your head of like love thy neighbor and don't do all this stuff and treat people with humanity, y'all are some fucking assholes, more so than I ever have without some religious moral compass inside me.
Because that's funny.
It's insanity to me.
Christians in themselves, based on the surveys, and this is coming out of the Pew report, like from the Pew Institute that's done the latest, like within the last quarter, like I think it was like March, April, May, figures. They're still saying that 61% of women, not just women, of Americans, men and women of voting age that were polled, wanted abortion to be legal. Okay, and of that 61%, 68% of them were Christians.
So it's just the loud minority of the evangelicals that are basically created this for us.
And when we look at who is actually, because Christianity is such a big part of our population in the United States, let's be honest, it is. We have other religions, we have Muslims, we have atheists, we have, all the others, but Christianity is the biggest one. Okay. Who do you think are having abortions?
Right.
Was it typically like white women too?
White women, yes.
White women. Christian white women, right?
Percentage. Yes. So here's the thing. So if it is a religious thing, if you're going to fight with it on that, you're taking away another's right, which isn't a very Christian thing to do. And I think that's where they are with it, because most of them are saying, I won't do it myself, but I do believe there should be choice. And why can't that be the way it is? Just because you won't do it yourself. If you don't believe in abortion, don't have one.
Don't have one, yeah.
Right. I'm not, I would never tell you to. I would never do the opposite and force it on people to have it. Okay. No. So why is it okay for them to do it the other way around? Like, I don't get it. The statistics don't even go with it. So like, it's just, it's fear. It's absolutely fear. It's people without the knowledge, the necessary knowledge to make it an informed decision, making the, and that's what's wrong with our country.
Yeah. 100%.
Because that's what it is. You are making a decision without adequate information to do so. and that just it means you're making it out of fear or ignorance, and
Or arrogance.
well, I was going to, I hate to say that it's that, but yeah, when it comes down to it, I guess that's what I truly believe, the arrogance of it all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know better than I do.
But you know better than anybody else what I should be doing
Hmm.
with my body. And no, and it's your fear of me and the decisions that I make and how they affect you that is
Right.
you do it. And sorry, old white man. Maybe you should be afraid of me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm an intelligent woman with a uterus who intends to beat you to death with information. I'd be afraid of me too right now. I would. And everyone
Yeah.
like me. Right now I would be. But you did this. Like you weren't afraid of me last week. Well, you should be now, because it will be my intent to expose you for the lack of information that you have and for where you're making these decisions from and what your
Yeah.
agenda is, because I can't see any common sense.
Mm-mm.
You're going to have to explain it to me. You're going to have to prove it to me. But I don't see any
Yeah.
common sense in it.
Mm-mm. They really don't know anything. I mean, really, what was it? AOC came out and was talking about the 6 week span. Like, you can't do anything past 6 weeks. Even when you are actively trying, even when you are like, going through fertility, you don't know you're pregnant until you are like a few weeks along, because it takes a while for those hormones to build up.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the immediate moment of conception and then implantation and then you're pregnant. No, like your body has to like get to that point where it tells it like, oh, there's an extra being inside of us, maybe more than one.
Right.
Yeah, and they just like,
Mhm.
With my daughter, I didn't even know until I was about 14 weeks.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
half of us don't even realize it until if you miss your period, then you are a minimum, I think it's like 6 weeks,
Yeah.
if not longer. Like, I can't even like buy a lot. Well, I don't think I couldn't get pregnant. I medically can't get any pregnant anymore. But I miss my period all the time. It happens for stress. It's not like they're guaranteed always going to be there. Like, stuff happens. Like, sometimes they kind of go crazy.
Yeah, that's the
We
thing.
don't know the exact moment.
Yeah.
When they're making it that the states can actually regulate their law, they can regulate it every way. They're not just talking about the surgical procedure. They're talking about all of the medical ways that it can be done, all of the ways
Right.
that actually can. They're going to talk about the ways to prevent conception.
Exactly.
That too, because you're pro-choice, you're pro-life,
Right.
right? What are they going to say if they've actually just said that conception is when life begins instead of when the brain engages? That means as soon as that sperm hits the egg,
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they're going to be against all of the birth control methods, all the
Right.
Plan B, just even the ones that just affect the lining of our uterus. In other words,
Yeah.
no longer do we have any body autonomy at all.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
I actually heard
here's the end result of that. The end of the population of the planet. Because you know what? If I don't have control over my body, and thank God that like I'm not, at the age where I can get pregnant again. Okay. Because these men who are making the decision are ruining the sex lives of every man out there.
right.
They
really are.
They are taking their options away too. And if I were you men, I would be beginning to be upset about that, because choice for us is choice for you. Okay.
But see, that also brings up another scary point to go kind of
for
dark.
us is options and freedom for you. Just saying,
like women say no all the time, and well, people in general say no all the time, and they're forced to go against that no. So you say like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to even risk having a pregnancy. Sometimes that choice is taken away from you.
And how about the horribleness of having to put yourself there to think about that?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're just in danger on all points. Like, we get raped, we get pregnant, we don't get to have an abortion anymore.
SCOTUS, now you're messing with my sex life too. Like, thank you so much. Like, oh, Jesus, my personal life. So now you're in my sex life.
Right.
What? Now I'm mad.
I know.
I warned. I said I was going to go
no,
dark
I
for a
already
second.
yelled at mine
I
this
know.
morning.
Yeah, I was gonna go dark. It's like,
No,
don't mess
Yeah.
with their
I
sex.
already yelled at mine this morning. I was, he was like, "What is wrong?" I was like, "Because you're a man. That's it. That's the only way. Because you're a man."
And I don't want to get there. It's not a man issue. Definitely.
It's not a man issue.
Mm-mm.
But
It's not.
that was like the only thing that would come out of my mouth this morning because he was
Well,
just
my
irritated.
14-year-old
Mm.
walked up to me and they had questions. They're non-binary, and they said, what is Roe versus Wade and why is it in the news? So I explained to them like what was going on and what that stipulation was, and I shared with them between them and their next closest sibling what I'd had to go through to make sure that I had the next two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are the conversations we have to have, because
Yeah,
in a few years they're going to be in the same position, and I want them to be safe. And
What I want them to have is freedom of choice, is what I want. Like,
right.
have all the information that they need and all the availability of it to go either way.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like,
thinking
Oh,
about
sorry.
that, kids growing up in
Yeah.
now, the young ones.
I've got a 7 and 4-year-old. I don't know what life's going to be like for them when they become to the point where, if and when they decide to have children biologically, like, or if they decide not to have children biologically, what's it going to look like for them? Like, I have no idea what my children's lives are going to be like.
We're in a country that was totally against China when China told people they couldn't have more than 2 children because
Right, they couldn't have girls.
of the population and because of how tiny the place was, and and that they couldn't afford it, and it was best for the population, and they tried to tell them
Right.
how many children you could actually have. You couldn't have any more or whatever. And we were so against that. We were like, oh my God, we're a Democrat. That would never happen here in America. We would never do such a thing. How dare they violate people's rights? That's so inhumane. We were all up in their shit, right? And look what we're doing now. Like, aren't you embarrassed, America? Like, come on. You should be. I am. Or you.
I know. I feel like the rest of the
I'm
world
embarrassed.
is just,
Yeah. We're all up in everybody else's business
disappointing.
about a democracy and personal rights and treating people with humanity and this, that, and the other thing. And we do this. And then we do this.
Well, you're the crackhead neighbors that Mexico and Canada have to fucking deal with.
Not even just some small minority that maybe gets swept onto the right. It did it to half of the goddamn Americans in the country. Like, come on. Even just pick all the little, you just did it to half of us. Like, boop,
Yeah.
right there. You just picked the jet. You just, damn, you should be ashamed. You definitely should. And you should stop keeping your mouth shut about how other countries do shit for a little while. You really
right.
Yeah. But some of them, I feel like they think this is a win for them. Like, they're just cheering it on. Like, this is great. Nope.
Nope.
But that just shows you the arrogance of it and the level of information.
Yeah,
That's
some of
why
these people that have been
as
saying
much
on
as
the
we're
internet.
as much as we're having a go, and yeah, we did a couple of times. We just had a good old go. But we are trying to give out good information, the statistics, the facts, and try to calm people down that, yes, it's going to be state, but that means there's stuff you can do about it in your state. So if you're from those states and you do feel like we do, or even if you're not, you can help spread the information on how things can change. Remember, your state officials are supposed to work for you. And if we can prove that they're going against the population, right, things will change, things will change. There are a lot of things that need to change in our country. And I know it's not easy. Believe me, that is everybody feels hopeless. We went through years of people getting voted in we don't even believe in, and did things that we couldn't even understand. And you know why? Because our hopelessness, our desperation, and our wanting things to change so bad was used against us, that we're grabbing at straws. We just have to take a breath. We have to take a breath and think about how we can make a difference in what we can do. We have to be clear about what we're saying. We have to be clear about what we want. And then every action that we take has to match those words and thoughts. That's how we solve all problems, right? As women,
right.
As humans. I don't mean to exclude the gentleman in the chat or anybody on YouTube or the world. But that's how I approach it. If we are clear in our intent, we back it up with the information that we have and on what we want. I mean, come on, don't women usually get what they want? Come on. I don't know I'm making light of that, but is there a little bit of truth in that? Because
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
how it gets done.
Yeah.
It's how
I'll put it that way sometimes.
sometimes, I don't know. Well, I guess I got a better winning streak than most of you. I'll just
No, with my, I would have to say,
you are clear about your
I was
direction.
gonna say I don't hear no very often.
I
So, like,
can
probably
say,
so.
I can
See?
say this, with my first marriage, no, I did not get my way at all.
Hmm.
With my second marriage, yes, he would go out of his way to take care of me, to support me, to protect me, and to love me. And
Yeah.
with the person that I am with now, I pretty much get my way. And he, again, he supports me in anything I want to
Yeah,
do.
but you're not taking advantage of that though. Here's the thing. Like,
No,
I don't mean that we're using wiles and we're convincing or we're
no,
manipulating or any of that shit. I'm being just clear, direct, and it usually works out okay.
yes,
Because you're being clear about what you want, they're being
yeah.
clear.
Like we had
That's
great conversation, and
that's what I'm
he,
talking about.
yeah,
Instead of, we don't use brute to do it. We don't use.
no,
I don't recommend using manipulation and all of
and I
that
would
other
never do
stuff
that to
either.
him.
I'm not a big fan of any of that kind of
No,
bullshit. And I've got a pretty good track record, in a lot of things, in business, in my personal life, although alone right now, it's not been bad. I can't argue about anywhere I've been. Okay. It's not been a bad life. And I've always approached it with the information, with being clear about what I want and making sure that everybody around me knows it. And I think that's
right.
what we have to do now with our states, is my point. Is
I
we
think
just,
we do too.
if we
I
could
really
start
do.
locally and statewise, and
Yes,
everybody be clear, because we are half the population of this country.
we
We
are.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
like
What
this.
is y'all's best advice? Because I don't know quite much like what I can do except educate and protect my children. As a white cis woman, I don't want to talk over someone, and I'm not having any more children, but I want to be capable of talking for those who get ignored. I want my non-binary kid to be heard. I want my two younger ones to not just be seen as nothing but little girls. Like, what's the best advice that you can do to like make people hear us finally? Because I truly don't know. I'm not a rioter or protester. I don't I don't do a lot of
What you can do, and this is like very generic. I hear this often. What you do is you allow others to say how they feel about it and to speak about it and to talk about it, and you continue the conversations, and you
exactly.
spread what informations and facts that you have found out there. Now, people may not want to get active in contact legislation and things like that, but it all starts. You never know who you're influencing and where you're
Right.
going. Or you can talk with a neighbor over the fence about the statistics that we learn and we find out about what is going on and how it affects other people. And that could spark them to write the letter. Who knows?
Yeah.
If you don't really feel like you can. But, even just one email to those that represent us, especially if you have children that are going to be in school, advocating for at least the protection, like stop the onslaught of what's going to happen with the lack of education that's going to happen to the children for birth control and things like that, for safe sex and stuff like that, because these clinics are all going to be shut down and backdoor getting
They
the
are.
information going to be eliminated. So start it part of the process of continuing. If you truly believe that you don't want abortion in your state, then let's make the opportunity for abortions to occur less. Let's start the education programs. Let's use it to make a little good. Use it to put forward getting real information out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Because that way you're not actually feeling like you're addressing an issue that doesn't. And I know how you feel, Jared, because I'm a woman now who does not have to worry about the issue of abortion happening to me personally. I don't have to make that decision
Right.
in my life
I
anymore.
don't either.
Okay. Now, But do I feel I can't speak on it? No, I feel I can. Been there, done that. Okay, help fight, get it where it is. I damn well will speak,
Yeah.
and I'll speak for everybody. Like, not your personal stories, but having been there and been through it. But men can too. If you're a man in the audience and you're listening and you feel like you can't speak up because you don't have a uterus, oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
You
Don't
can.
let anybody tell you you can't. If you're a woman, cannot bear children, don't think you can't speak on this issue. Yes,
Right.
you can. Okay. If you have been through it, or you can't. If you are now past menopause or before childbearing, or for any reason that you can't, don't think you can't speak on this issue. This is not just an issue for the 30-year-old working woman.
It's not.
Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them put that in your head that that's who only it affects. It's not true. It affects all of us. It is a personal right. They are telling us what to do with our bodies.
And that's wrong.
You can't let it happen to anybody.
No.
Anybody
Right.
in your future. Okay, your grandchildren, your daughters, your neighbors, your sisters. Okay, your mothers. You can't let it happen. So it's bigger than that. Okay, and it's for all of us. Okay, women are a large percentage of this country, and if we stick together to say that you can't make a right against a woman like that, okay, not just a child, not just a childbearing woman, a woman, you
Right.
can't take civil right away. Okay,
I
you just
feel
can't
like
take
it's the
body
same
autonomy.
like argument when you say like I mean, I've seen a lot of like I'm really not into like the extreme feminists who say men don't have an option and all that sort of bullshit. It's the same as if
I'm
like
not. Yeah.
I will never be I won't talk over someone. So I am not a part of the queer community, but I love my, you know, queer children, my queer siblings. Like I am a super ally. But just tell me where you want to go and I'll scream my head off and I will fight for you. But I'm not going to talk for you. I feel like it's the same. Like we need those who aren't ever going to be in a position to have to go down this road just to be there. And when we say, hey, I just need your voice to be a little bit louder than mine right now. Can you help me out? Like be there and be kind of that loud voice. Like I got super lucky and I married a man who is that for me. Like I can say like, I'm not loud enough and I need you. And he will 100% be there. He won't overtalk me. He'll listen to how I want and what I need. And if I don't need him, he just sits back in the background and waits, you know, and I feel like that's what, you know, I would like to see, you know, kind of how that in regard, like, don't overtalk us because right now we're feeling really ignored and, you know, like we're nothing. But like, just be here when we say, I need you.
The worst thing you could say is that it's an emotional issue, and of course you're upset about it because you're like emotional, like you don't know how to
Oh, I
feel.
swear to God, you tell me I'm well, I already said I was emotional, but if you tell me to calm down, I'm gonna rage out like hardcore Cajun coming out.
Don't
Like,
even tell me
man.
that.
Like, don't you call me emotional while I emotionally kick your ass.
I will cry my eyes out and beat your face in. Like we're like
I know
it will
what you're
happen.
saying. And I get it. It is very frustrating because we are emotional, but we do have more hormones than you. There's a reason. There's a scientific reason. Don't use it against us. You cannot. Don't do that. That's not right. But I see in the chat many men saying, of course they would support. They can't. They're not going to tell a woman what to do with her body, but they're damn well going to support the right that she has the right to say what she will. And Queen, you're right. They need to speak up because this is going to affect them too. The children that are born over and over, who's going to be paying those child support bills? Okay, who's going to be have more and more legal problems? Because let me tell you, the state is going to ban abortion, but they're damn well not going to take care of the children as a result of that. They damn well aren't already. There are more children starving in the United States than most countries, and yet we're all into feeding other countries' children and not our own. Okay, we have more children in the poverty level, more children in the poverty level than we ever had before. In 2022, that's disgusting. Okay, like we got issues here, America. Like we need to step up and let's, you know, and if it has to be the children and this issue that brings a lot of it to light, like you can't legislate me not to do something and you won't take care of the result. What? What? Oh, and wait a minute. I don't have
Mhm.
rights to my own body, but I've got to pay the same taxes as the guy who gets to do whatever he wants. I think not.
No.
What if
Mhm.
all America in the United States decided that we needed a tax cut?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
hello,
If I
hello.
Yeah.
I can't take care of that one important part of my female anatomy
Yeah.
if I
Yep.
don't have the right to decide what is best
I
for
want a
that
uterus
one
credit.
part.
I
I
want
want
a
a
uterus
uterus
credit.
deduction on my taxes.
Ooh, I like that.
I want
Yeah.
a uterus deduction. And throw in the fallopian tube
Look out, when I get pissed off, I get a
and
little
the
too
ovaries
crazy. This is
because
crazy.
I
I'm
want a
sorry.
deduction on all of it.
Crazy.
Well, I want to be like, hey, if you want to make the decision here, you can have my uterus. Like, feel free.
Right?
It's a lot of
I'll go
fun.
have it
Go
taken
ahead.
out tomorrow
Oh,
for
I
you.
know. I know they're stuck in the system. I get it, Queen. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, that they're doing this and they're not going to take care of the children. They're forcing a situation to make things worse. It's already bad enough,
And,
you know.
Claire,
It is.
what's going to happen when that 14, 15-year-old girl and that 15, 16-year-old boy are dating and they have casual sex and
Yeah.
there's an impregnation? How is this kid who can't even probably barely tie his shoes and blow his nose, how is he going to support this girl and this baby now?
Well, we know the
Right.
state's not going to do it. We can just
And
wipe
he's
that out.
not going to do it.
The state's
Mm-mm.
not going to do it. They're going to say that she has to have that child.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to take care of that child. So
But
now you got a
nobody can take care of
14-year-old
that
who's not
child
ready to be a
except her and
mother,
her family.
put in the situation, because they're also not going to offer childbirth education classes,
Right.
child rearing
Uh-uh.
education classes. They're not going to help that young man be able to be a
Mm-mm.
father. They're not going to give him fathering classes. They're
No.
not going to give him any education on how to take care of himself or anything like that. Everything stops as soon as the child is born, because all they're
Plus, you have
achieving
to
walks
add
away.
in babies aren't
Yeah.
born perfect. Not every baby comes out mentally and
Exactly.
physically perfect.
Right.
Like, that was something
And
my
here's
mom told me when I started
well,
having sex as a
she's
teen.
She's 14. They're not even going to give her the opportunity for prenatal care, anything like
No.
that. They don't give a
Mm-mm.
crap to make sure that that's a healthy baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they're
And
not going to
the
do it.
baby, yeah, they don't come out perfect. And
All
No.
they're
you
going to
really
do,
expect a 14-year-old to handle a child that needs more
all they're
help?
going to
Like,
do is
Right.
force her into the situation to have the
mm-hmm.
child. Now they'll say, "Oh no, we're not forcing her. We're just saying you can't do it here." Okay, but she's
Right.
14. Is she supposed to
14,
go
yeah.
6 states over for 3 or 4 days, get a medical exam, and she's supposed to have the fortitude by
Mm-hmm.
14 to find
Yeah.
those
With no driver's
those
license.
things with, to find these opportunities. She's
Yeah.
supposed to take care of that all herself, because
Yeah.
you're not paying for a clinic for her to go to get the
Right.
advocacy program to send her anywhere. You're not going to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, you're not going to take care of the other end of it. You're putting people at risk. What you're doing is ruining the lives of 3
Uh-huh.
people. You and everybody around them. You have
Yeah.
ruined her life, his life, and that child's life.
And,
You have ruined
yeah.
it.
And
Ruined it.
she
Taken away all
probably,
their opportunity, taken away everything that they ever planned to do, and made that child be born in a situation where it was unwanted and perhaps not even cared for properly. Now, I'm not going to say that 14-year-old won't. Some of them do. But they're not given the opportunity to do the best. And you're not going to tell me that's the best environment for a child to grow up in.
Right. They're already behind the 8 ball at that point.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they're already starting off
oh
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the real picture. That's what you're making.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And-
what you're creating. Absolutely.
When I lived in that other state, I don't even want to mention the name of that state, and worked in a big metropolitan area. One of my jobs that I had during the time that we lived there, I taught at a medical vocational school, and I taught medical office assisting. So I was teaching the ones that were going to be front of a medical office or a clinic, billing, coding, that type of thing. One evening, because I taught evening classes, I noticed one of my students seemed very upset. She was a great student. She was very intelligent and very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, probably 90 to 95% of my students were inner city residents.
Mm-hmm.
So living way below the poverty line.
Yeah.
It was rough. And I just went over to her and kind of tapped her on the shoulder and motioned her to come outside with me because I could just tell something was off with her. Took her to an empty classroom right next to mine. And I said, "Is everything okay? You seem upset. I just want to let you know I'm here if you want to talk. What's going on? If you need to talk, I'm here for you." And this poor girl, 19 years old, broke down and sobbed. And all I could do was hold her. And she finally pulled it together and she said, "You know that I already have 3 children." And I said,
Oh,
"No, I
wow.
didn't know that." And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "And I just found out I'm pregnant again." She was 19.
Mm.
Her
She had 3
Wow.
children at 19. Is that what you just said? Wow.
Yes, and a 4th pregnancy. And her
Wow.
husband was 30 years older than she was.
All right, that's hard. That's
Oh,
hard.
wow.
Yeah. And I started talking to her and I was like, "Do you know what's causing this?" And she's like, "Yeah, my husband and I keep having sex." I said, "Do you know how to stop it?" No.
She
I
had
immediately, no
no
idea about birth
education
control,
on
nothing.
contraception. All right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I immediately called up our medical director of our
Get her.
school and I said, "Hey, can I have her come in early? Can you and I sit down and have the talk with her?"
Yeah.
And we did.
No,
And, we gave her some education and we also talked to her about her rights and things like
Their
that. So,
options.
that
Yeah.
should be like more commonplace. It should be something that's automatic, like throughout the school system. She shouldn't have got to that age without it. Actually,
exactly.
well, they won't let us because they think it's like promoting sex. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, sex is natural. It's going to happen. It's
gonna
all
happen.
of our
Oh, yeah.
hormones from the time we go through puberty. It is how we are keeping the planet alive. Okay, it is what our bodies are geared to do. We are prone towards it from the minute we start with puberty. That is the goal. Okay, so like trying to regulate it, trying to like avoid it, trying to say like you can't do this or you can't do that. Come on, like just how about make it safer, make it more acceptable, take the shame out of it. I'm all for that part. And definitely just make it so that the unwanted and unprotected disease, damage or violations aren't happening. It's all about education and information. And they want to stymie that too. It's just totally not right. Totally not right. John has a good point here. The people wanting to control women's bodies should stop saying they're pro-life and admit they are only pro-birth, because that's true. Because the
It's so
unborn is a very valid cause, because it doesn't cost you
Yeah.
anything. You can advocate for that till the cows come home and it doesn't cost
yeah.
you anything. And everybody gets on board and they think you're so great as a politician because you're all for the unborn. And as soon as anything happens, because it's not like the elderly, the sick, or healthcare where that's all going to cost you money. The unborn, they don't cost you a thing.
Right.
No, because people think they forget about. So we were originally, our lifespans were only until 30 or 40 years old. So it made sense that we hit puberty at 13, 14, had gotten married, had kids, because that was like the middle marker of our life. But now we live up until our 70s and 80s and hundreds.
Right.
Puberty still starts because biologically that's where we evolved to go. But people don't educate the fact that you don't have to have a child that young. I had my first at 24 and I still felt real young. And
Oh, yeah.
I was the oldest of the people I graduated high school with to have my first child. And I was 24. Everyone I had known had already had children in their teens.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? And that's okay if they wanted it, but in most cases it's just the way that it went, because they became active
Yeah, it was lack of education.
information and lack of education.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, because that also is
Yeah.
taking choice away from people. And Liam, I agree with you. There's a cult of virginity and prudish inability to talk openly about sex that causes part of this problem.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was raised, where it's not, and I don't consider myself loose or any of that other stuff. I am free about it. I'll talk about it. I am open to it because it is scientifically, evolutionary, natural, and progressive what we do. Okay, it is, just go with
Yeah,
it.
I was the only kid in my small Mississippi town that was on birth control because
Right.
my mom was a nurse,
I'm
so she
so
knew it was
glad
going to
that
like.
I'm glad you got the education and you
Mhm.
actually, you're a
But I
success.
only got it. Yeah, I got it because my parents were medical, and even though not to say medical people can't be pro birthers or pro lifers, like, but the Catholic school wasn't educating you on anything. We didn't learn about STDs. We didn't learn about contraceptives because it was abstinence only.
Right.
And
And
that's just
which
the
is
way
like,
a lot of us happened. And that's why all my high school friends were pregnant by the time we were
mhm,
freshmen and sophomores in college.
Yeah.
mhm. No, and I think that they have proven by the rates that abstinence is
Hmm.
working very well, because it works
No, it
until the
doesn't
first
work.
time you have sex, and then the first time you have sex, if you're not educated on all the other things,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
you get pregnant unwantedly, right away.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
John, you and I have the same song in our head, the
I
same song.
know.
Bless that George Michael and
Yeah.
that little booty shaking he was doing. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing as they said it. It was ringing in my head.
Yep.
Oh, it's funny. But I know. This has been a very good conversation for me. I hope for you too. And for the chat, thank you, because these are hard conversations to have without people feeling, overly emotional without really triggering anyone or trying to
Right.
leave anyone out. And I hope you understand it was not intention to leave anyone out, because these conversations
Mm-mm.
try to bring everybody in. I think the one thing all three of us agreed on here is that we all can speak on it. All of us. Don't
Hmm.
let anybody tell you can't, or that you're too old, you're too young, you don't have a uterus, or you're a man, or you're LGBTQ, whatever,
Hmm.
non-binary, binary, whatever. You can speak on it. We're talking about basic rights here.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need a
Yeah.
uterus to speak
And
on
if
it.
they're
Mm-mm.
I'm
taking
telling you
it
that.
away,
Okay.
what else are
Mhm.
they going to take from us?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, because if they do it, here's the thing, and this is the way it is with all rights. If they'll take away one, they'll take away more. You let them get away
Uh-huh.
with it, and they will.
Hmm.
And even some are coming at me saying, "Claire, you know better. It's a legal issue. They're not really taking away a right, right?" And I'm like, "No, yeah, they did, because there was what they had with Roe versus Wade was constitutional protection as
Right.
a
Yes.
okay. And when that went away, yes, they did. So, yeah, that is how I look at it. Legally, that's how I look at it. They took away the federal protection, okay, that said that they didn't have a right to go and make legislation against my body,
Right.
okay?
Hmm.
They took away the protection of the federal government saying, yo, state, don't do that. You can't
Yeah.
touch that woman's body. Don't do it. Don't do it. So yeah, they did do that. So when you come at me and say, "Lo, you got to look at the legal precedent," yeah, I have. And if you notice, when I did this stream, all I put down there was their opinions, the SCOTUS opinion, and I recommend that everybody read it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's down there in PDF form, because also, and I don't want to scare you all, but they're talking about also things like amniocentesis in
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah.
And
They're
what
talking
about
about,
IVF therapy? When is that?
yes.
Okay, you go through IVF, you damn well know that they fertilize more eggs than you're going to use. They have to, because
Right.
of the percentages.
Yeah.
Are people are is that going to be a
And
violation now?
yeah, because like in my case, we had, I can't remember the total number of eggs that we had, but our first one did not implant at all. Our second one, they put in 5 eggs and 3 implanted. And within the first trimester, I lost one. At the beginning of the third trimester, I lost the other 2. Um, and after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm not going through that again. I cannot
Right.
go through that again. And yes, I did have to have a DNC after the
Hmm.
last one. Fortunately, with the first one, it completely expelled. I was fine, but they did do a routine DNC when I lost the last 2. And, that was hard also to have known that I just lost them and then having to go through the DNC. That was one of the hardest things I've ever emotionally, mentally had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
fortunately, I had a wonderful doctor and wonderful staff and a wonderful support system. but it was very hard.
Mhm.
But that's something they're talking about. And if they're implanting 7, 8 eggs and 6 of them are taking, and we know that's dangerous. We know it can be done, but we know it's dangerous not only for the children but also for the mom. And so
Mhm.
lots of times they'll recommend selective reduction. Well, that's a
Right.
form of abortion,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what about, like, like you said, amniocentesis? What
Mhm.
Mhm.
about if you've got a child and they find out through testing, or you're pregnant and they
Men-
find out through testing or sonogram that there's an issue, but they can
mhm.
do intrauterine surgery? I've heard that may also be considered
They're true
an
because
issue now.
if they put that much right on the fetus, if the like say the operation has a, let's say, 60-40
Uh-huh.
rate, but you want to take the chance that it's gonna,
Mhm.
you want to go
Right.
with the 40, that it'll be successful because you want a productive life for
Yeah.
that child. Okay. They're gonna, when do they come in and some lawyer shows up for the fetus now that says,
Exactly.
yeah, no, you can't do that because the
Yeah.
fetus has more rights than you do. Yeah, it's your body, but you don't get to say. Like,
Yeah.
where does it stop? Like, because they already
Exactly.
have IVF and amniocentesis mentioned in that's why it's
They
down there.
do have
Please
it
read it.
mentioned.
Like, I'm not ringing bells here. I'm telling you
No,
facts. Go read it. It
because
is
there
not
was
that
actually
far of a leap when you see them the way they mention it. When
there
you
was
see the
actually a
material
doctor
that
that
they're
mentioned
using.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd
Yep.
put it in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it is going to affect other things. Liam mentioned what they did with stem cell research, one of the greatest
Exactly.
breakthroughs that we've had in, and they're trying to stymie how that gets done, how things use. And I do understand, okay, but we're talking about most of that stem cell research comes from, like, that's a good thing. That's one of the things that I don't want to say that going through an abortion is a good thing. It's not, okay.
Right.
It is traumatic for the woman. It's not a decision that's easy to make. It's hard on the body. And yes, there is a loss there. There is a loss of a future. I'm not saying it
Mhm.
was there yet. I'm not going to call it a life till it has a brain. I'm not
Right.
doing it. I'm a little
Mm-mm.
bit scientific. When it gets a brain and it's sentient, because a robot is not a life, and a robot can do more
No.
than that fetus, okay? But it doesn't have a brain, so I don't call it a life, okay? Let's get real. And a robot can mimic everything I do, including the sex robots I just saw that could breathe and have a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. But what crosses the line there is the brain, right? Sentient. So why
It
not
does.
for the fetus too? Okay. So I can actually scientifically, I get there. That's my line, a brain. Okay. A functioning brain. Okay. So it's not, and it's not born. Some people say it's all the way till born. Okay. I'm not so sure on there because the fetus does things in vitro that are amazing, and I've seen
Yes.
it. So I do know there's a functioning something going on there. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's brain. Okay. And so I'm gonna go with when there's brain activity. Okay. So
Mhm.
Right.
when there's actually a functioning brain.
Like when
Um
it's a viable pregnancy and that kid can survive
Violet. Okay.
basically with
Yes.
outside of
So
body.
Yeah.
everything that happens afterward to get rid of that pregnancy can fall under the abortion term. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
We're
It
talking about
can.
all
I didn't
of the
realize all this.
procedures,
This is a whole
all
new
all of the procedures,
Jesus.
and every procedure has risks that you do to a
Mhm.
fetus at that point.
Right.
Whether
Uh-huh.
you're trying to save the fetus's life or not, okay, whether you're trying to save it to make it more viable going forward,
Right.
all contains risk. And where are they going to say that that's the woman's choice? And where are they going to say that the state's going to get involved or somebody else? You know,
Yeah.
like that's the problem.
Well,
Liam,
I
I
laugh.
don't want to, don't tell me your sob stories too. You know, I was joking about spillage last night and about how you all should be criminally violated for your spillage. Yes, yes, yes. You're going to have to, if we have to pay a price, we should have to get some prices there on your spillage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing
Like,
about
like
STEM
how far are they
research.
going to go? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it like I think almost all cancer treatments came from stem cell research
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of
All
like
of
modern
the
day medicine.
or everything, so much that they're doing,
So
many
much. And it's
wars
like at that point,
that we're having, and so like
Yes.
and these are all from either non-viable pregnancies
Mhm.
Right.
or aborted people, because we need those stem cells,
Yeah.
that creation of life, that spark there to get the stem cell. So there is some benefit too, but let's just ignore all of that. Let's
Mhm.
ignore all of
Yeah,
that.
it goes back to like it's a benefit for me, but I'm gonna make you
You know what? I want you to have that
villainized.
child that we refuse to take care of, and
Yeah.
then because it's not really important to cure cancer. That's not important to us. No. We would rather have this child here that we're not going to feed, clothe, or educate as an American.
Right.
It's going to take a spot. Yeah, we're going to take a spot here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or they get so like up in their feels about it, and they, no stem cell research. That is a tongue twister. And
It
then they're like, but give me all the drugs. I want to do all this stuff that's made for you by science.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have it both ways.
And
Like-
you know what gets
Exactly.
me is the person in my DMs that says, you can't complain about not having a right for an abortion when you made me get a vaccine. I'm like, yeah, because those
Oh no, my
things,
mouth is full of watermelon. I
know,
have so much to
that's-
say about that.
I know.
because that's
I just
apples
don't-
to apples and not
Yeah.
apples to oranges. No, like you might have a small point there. Like we did tell you it was for the greater good that people
Right.
get vaccinated so millions didn't die. But
So here's my stance on it.
I'm
I'm gonna go a little dark again. Sorry.
That's okay. Go.
Okay.
Dark.
As someone who has worked through this fucking thing for the last 2 years, I have been cussed at, screamed at, threatened more times than I would like to care to admit. But I have never done the same to someone else. Like you see all of our sides out there protesting. They're literally just walking in a line. Like I've seen all these videos. I think I've seen 2 where protesters have gotten violent. But yet, how many abortion clinics have been blown up? How many doctors have been murdered? Who are those doctors at those clinics? How many CNAs and RNs and medical staff had their lives threatened, had to move because of the religious pro-lifers? Like, you don't see us doing the same thing. No one took your fucking rights away to get vaccinated.
Nope.
At all. We just said, you can't go to a game. That's not a choice in your life.
What we said is
It's literally you just can't go around a crowd.
You're allowed not to be vaccinated. You just can't
Yeah,
come.
absolutely. You just can't come hang out with us. Like,
Right.
that's it.
Because we have rights too. Like, don't
Yeah.
sneeze on me,
Uh-huh.
mother. Do not sneeze on me, mofo. Go away.
Right.
That's
Right.
it. Like, so there. Like, but that was the argument. I was like, it's not the same thing. It is
It's
No,
not.
it's not even close to
It's-
remotely
no,
close
it's
to the
not
same
close.
fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I read this really great story on Twitter last night about this woman who had to have an abortion, and she went to a clinic, and it was amazing. She had to go to a different state. I can't remember the backstory, and it doesn't really matter why she went to one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next week, as she was recovering, she saw the front page of the news. The doctor had performed her surgery, was murdered in his church. So the man was still a religious man, but he was there to help people who
He did.
didn't want to be parents, and he was murdered.
I have worked for those doctors who put their own beliefs, who
Mhm.
never want anyone in their family to have an abortion, but have stood there against their own personal beliefs of what they want, and actually advocated for a woman's right to choose for self. If they're going to do it, let it be safe. Let it be medically done. Let it be in the best interest for them to go forward with their life completely intact, because of the horror story. That's what I mean. It's a personal belief. It is not something that should be a congressional belief. It's not something that should be a constitutional belief. It is a personal belief that each person should hold onto their own on whether they would have one or not. But taking away the ability to get it is wrong. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's because they're the side that does all this crazy, like really violent stuff, and they expect the same from us. And the thing is we come at them with like intellect and research and education and empathy, and they don't see us like that. They don't see us as someone who deserves any empathy, because literally we just disagree with them. That's it. That's all it comes down to. We just don't agree with what they're saying. Like, but we're met with violence every turn we get. Like, we're just screamed at and bullied, and I'm not an online person, but I can't imagine what y'all's DMs look like right now, with people just spitting vitriol at y'all because you don't agree with what happened. That's it. People have lost their fucking minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope, they actually have.
Yeah.
I can,
And it's that autonomy of, like, they feel like they have the right to say whatever horrible thing is in their brain to y'all. Like, it's like somehow it's going to change you. Like, let me just beat you into submission to get you to believe me. And that's not how it's going to work.
Not
This is
the
not
best
how
way
we're
to
going to find an
approach
answer to
me.
this. Sorry.
yeah.
What'd you say, Kim?
I said that's not the best way to approach me at
Mm-mm.
all. Is to hit me
No.
that way. No. That's not going to work for them.
No.
Mm-mm. And they seem to think it is. Like, the louder they get, the more aggressive they get. Like, somehow we're going to be like, oh, okay, we were wrong.
Right.
Thanks for being a dick. I agree.
No, that doesn't usually work with me. There's usually a better way. Like I said, the information, use their own words, use their own failed narrative against them. Because it's easy enough to do if they're not coming with the, safe fact information that it actually takes care of, the whole situation, not just one little tiny part of it. You know what I mean? Usually that's where their arguments are focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Sandy, just leave it for now. Non-reaction is the best reaction, in my opinion, because although they have every right to feel the way they feel, they're representing it in a slanted way, which I guess is their right, but it should be out there for everybody to read that it is quite slanted and quite trying to start something. And I choose to not engage with it and actually say that you can say what you want, but I don't really agree with how you're representing some things that are factual. Like, yes, there have been plenty of abortions of women, but it's not like a genocide that's being done on purpose, and that is perpetrating the situation in a false narrative to get your point across, which I don't respect very much, but I'll allow it because, when people hang their ass out for everybody to see, I'll let that happen.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
we do.
I was going to say this chat's going to end up smacking them across the ass, so it's fine.
No, like they won't,
No,
because they feel
they've
like
been
I
very
do. Like, hang your ass out. That's your ass. It's ugly. We saw it. Okay, no problem. Hey, like what you think? Really, you think you're going to cause something here? You're not. You made your point, as one-sided and kind of slanted as it is. Although I do see some anger there about issues, which I can kind of, if they're coming from where I think they are, I might even support. But the way you're doing that, I don't.
Right.
I really don't. Because, that's actually misinformation. It's taking small facts and twisting them into bigger issues that they're not. It's a manipulation. That's manipulation.
As much as I'm a left-leaner, I do my research on both sides and I want to see what the other side says. I want to educate myself.
Right.
Because maybe I'm not right. Maybe there are stuff that I didn't understand or I was misled. I'd rather educate myself.
And, Jared, I think that's the responsible thing to do also. You've got to know both sides in order to form your own opinion. And to me, it's just responsible research. And, I've been doing a lot of it too on a lot of different things, but.
Well, I know that's frustrating about me, you all, so I apologize to the chat, but that's how I deal with things.
I don't think they're frustrated.
No,
I just want to say I appreciate the chat today of being very honest and open and listening to us and also sharing parts of their stories.
I know, they've been great.
I haven't been able to put a lot of your comments up, but we have read them, and we will be, we'll be
Yeah.
reading them all again. And we really appreciate that you participated and that you felt like you got a little something out of it, and you were back and forth about the statistics and what to do about your personal choice. The
Yeah.
men, the people from other countries, the women of all ages who are in chat, who came in even as briefly as they did, in and out. We would do appreciate it. And those of you that probably will listen later on YouTube, we appreciate you too. And
Yes.
just encourage you to go forward with discussing this very emotional issue that hit us all this week, with this, and go forward with as much information as you can gather, and go forward with your voices calmly, and
Mhm.
spread the
It's been
information, spread
yeah.
the way to try to get education out there, to try to stop some of the damage that's going to be done, because it's going to be absolutely dangerous for
Yeah.
many
That's a good
generations,
word.
It is.
many ages of women right now. It's going to be dangerous for them, and if we can get information out to help them,
Hmm.
then we will. And if we can try, those of you that feel like writing emails, start at the bottom, start locally, because if it's a state issue, it's your local representatives that
It
push
is.
forward up. So start in your own backyard. Start
Yes.
with your neighbors. Start with your local. Start there. Even if it's the
Hmm.
opposite party, be reasonable. No name calling, no right. And you know what?
No.
I do believe in protests and all that stuff. But please do not get pictures of things and put it out there, and do not
No.
participate in any of that. No, that's just crazy.
Mm-mm.
Let them hang their asses out. Let us go forward fully dressed with reasonable conversations and get something done, okay? And let the assholes do what they're going to do. Let
Yeah.
them do
Right.
that, okay?
We can
But
we can go out
yes.
there with facts and numbers and education
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
make our point just as well and make it more
Mm-hmm.
powerful if we do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm with Claire. Start at the bottom. Start at your local level and
Yes,
go up.
Icarus. I know how shocking that statement was, Icarus, but yes, when I do go political and I have to go out in public, I am fully dressed, believe it or not. Yeah, I know it's an untoward visual. You're all so used to me being free at home, but yeah, I
I
I
love
do
that the
respect.
exception is you having clothes on. That's
That is
great.
the exception. They're like, "What? You went
It
out there
is.
for?" We agree with everything you said, but why the hell did you get dressed? Like what? Like I just well
There are
here
no
I had
nipples. Where are the nipples?
That
that
was
was
last night.
that was last night's conversation. Wait, is there a nipple? Is there not a nipple? Like I assure you, they come with nipples. Like yes, there was a nipple. Okay,
Yes.
but anyway. Oh, but yes, Icarus, it is funny. But definitely, if I have to leave the house, I do obey the local laws, and they do not like bears running around naked out there in
No.
public. It's not a thing. So I do respect the law. Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I
Sheila,
have pants on today. See,
yeah.
we're dressed.
I don't, but I have a shirt.
Have shorts on, so technically those count as bottoms.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, and I don't mean to make light. It doesn't, but yeah, I'm a little freer. Almost.
You gotta have it. It can't all be like
I'm at the age like I do not care. Like who's gonna make me? You cannot make me wear underwear if I don't want to. I don't care.
Right?
Who the hell invented those damn things anyway? Like God.
uh-huh.
Anyway, sorry. I digress.
No, you gotta have some fun in this shit, man. Because if not,
I
it's
know.
gonna get so dark, so bad.
I
It's good for
don't.
your mental health to laugh.
It is. It is. I want to thank a friend publicly. I won't mention your name, but thank you for making me laugh first thing this morning. Because I was able to do this because of that. And I promote that with all of you. My nan used to say, and I swear it's the best advice I ever got. A good sleep and a good laugh will help set your brain right to anything so that you can actually think about it, solve it, do it, whatever. Get
Mm-hmm.
you things. A good sleep. Take care of yourselves, people, especially now. Because they're not going to do it.
Mm-mm.
We don't have a federal government that's going to back us up for this.
No.
So
No.
take care of yourselves, okay? Take care of your own mental health. Make sure you're strong. Make sure you're reasonable. And if you need someone to talk to, we're all here. I think you all know me. even those in the chat that don't know me that well, and all of you on YouTube, you know I'm out here talking to your asses all the
time.
Let me tell you this, though. I'm also known to be that person that will listen. As much as I talk, I listen just as much. So if you need an ear, one of us is here. Someone's there. Reach out to them. Get it out. Don't deal with it alone, okay? Because it is not a solo issue. This is not a solo issue. Your emotions and how you're reacting to it are normal and expected and probably felt by so many others. So just reach out. Find someone who will listen a little bit, and do not be ashamed of how you feel. Do not be ashamed of your reaction. Let's get it. Let's get on. Let's get over with the emotional part and do something about it. Action.
Oh, I do like that. Like, now is the time to be emotional. Give us a minute to like be in that emotion.
Yeah.
And then collect ourselves and get to work.
Right.
I like that.
No, Shay, do not feel bad about anything about what just happened here, because this isn't over, Shay. If you feel like you need to write something, this is my advice. Write it, babe. Write it.
Yeah.
If I don't use it, someone will. And I've taken things that people have written, and I'll read it out on YouTube. I'll make a video on it. I'll just read your words for you if you don't want to.
She will.
I will do it.
I'm proof of that.
If it resonates with me, I will be a voice. I will put it out there for you. I will do it. And what I could say is to all of you, don't think that just because you didn't say what you wanted to say because you felt too emotional today or you couldn't handle it, that it's over. Because this is the long run, hon. This is the long haul. Deal
just
with
the beginning.
Now it's just the beginning, and then go forward. You want to write it, you want to do a video, you want to come up here on panel with me and talk about it, you want to do it one-on-one, you want to tell your story to the world, whatever, do it. But this is the time that all of us should be doing that. Men, women, all of us. Okay. Support each other. Dad, do what you feel. Be in your feels for right now, and then, like I said, action is the cure to everything. Action. Okay. They say you're feeling blue, right? But what is that? The old-fashioned thing your nan would tell you, or someone in your life would tell you. Anyone. I don't want to always just pick on my nan. You know, she's like the perfect example for me. But everybody has one, right? Whoever that is for you. When you were feeling blue or down, would they just not say, like, let's move a little? Let's move one step forward. One step forward at a time changes everything. Yeah, that's what I mean by action. One step, people, one step at a time. Keep moving forward. We're not going. They want us to go backwards. This appears like it's going backwards, but it can only go backwards if we let it. If we actually use it to move forward and to change things, that's a hell of good in my book. Yeah, that's a hell of good. You know. So I don't mean to preach, but that's how I look at it. And that's how I'm getting through. And the only thing I can do is tell you from my perspective. You know, I'm just a bear. You know, actually just a woman named Bear because her nan thought it was cute. But she didn't mean it was cute when she called me Bear, believe me. Everybody thinks it's, oh, they're that cute. You know, she called you Bear, all cuddly. No, she called me Bear because I growled a lot when I was a kid because I had opinions about shit and I made a lot of trouble. That's why she called me Bear. But some things don't change, huh? But definitely, I can only come from my perspective on it. And that's the advice, Shay. Write it. You know, don't apologize. Write it when you're ready. Write it when you're ready.
Exactly.
No, I see it. I see people even talking about looking on their levels to change things. And I think that's great. Yes, they do, Arcanics, when necessary. But I'm usually a reasonable one.
Yeah.
You know. Well,
you know, and
Claire's a pretty good safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can even like consider taking things to some businesses in your area, you know, and just kind of gauging the temperature there. And, you know, I mean, all of this has made me rethink places that I may or may not want to do business with.
Right.
Because when I've been there before, I kind of know maybe which side they're leaning to. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of looking at that a little closer now. And yes, I'm one person. I'm not going to hit them really hard in their pocketbook,
Mm-hmm.
but
Actually, you will. That one person does start it.
it does
You
start
know,
it. And
I would actually support and actually advocate for that.
yeah,
Mm.
like, did you even see the thing, Claire? I think I dropped it yesterday from the guy with, he's like the CEO of Duolingo, what
Yeah.
he wrote to the state of Pennsylvania.
He said, if you think that we're not going to be like, don't even think that we're going to go. We are definitely going to be supporting a woman's
Yeah.
right, right? That guy,
Uh
yeah. He
huh.
said,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm only
And
going to have health insurance that pays for
yeah.
contraception and abortion. I am only
Yeah.
going to advocate for women to have a choice in this state to do it. And if you
Yeah.
don't, I'm going to
Yeah.
they laid it out as I
He
wish
said,
more
we'll
would.
take our offices elsewhere where we're welcome.
We will move where 50% of
Yeah.
our workers can get the rights they deserve, which I
Hmm.
want to hear more of that. But
Yeah.
I showed you all of the companies that have already
Oh,
come out and
yeah.
said we will help you. Well, if they have to spend money to help them, it won't be long before they move them. Now I don't expect them over
Exactly.
one issue to say, hell, we're moving out of the state like right
Right.
now.
No.
It's big business. It's a capitalist country. I am not stupid. Like I
But
get it. Okay. I know they're gonna go where the money is. But
yeah.
eventually, if women stand their ground, if men supporting women stand their ground and say they want that kind of coverage, they want it in their health insurance that's offered by their company, they want maternity, they want all of this, okay? And the states are going against it. They will make they will make it feasibly impossible financially for the companies to stay in those states. Okay,
Exactly.
that's what we got to do. If we're going to be in a capitalist country, you got to use capitalist theory
You
to
do.
fight for what you
You
want.
do.
And that's why, Kim, I say, don't ever say that your purchase didn't count. It
I
did.
know,
And
but
when everybody
that's kind
says,
of
well,
the
I'm
way
going
I
to go and
feel.
buy from that store because it's the closest, even though I know they don't do the right thing. If you think that that doesn't matter, it does. It actually does. You
It
are
does
Yeah.
matter. And
supporting or not
I
supporting.
know deep
Okay.
in my heart it does. It's
Mhm,
just one of those things that I
mhm,
have to get my mindset of I am making a difference by not purchasing from this company or
mhm,
canceling this subscription or whatever it
mhm,
is. I am making a difference because it's probably not just me that's doing it. There could
mhm,
be all these other people that are also doing it that I
mhm.
don't know about. So,
Listen, I get it. Like you know, that's all I can say is recommend where when you've got big decisions to make, really weigh it in. And when we go to vote, don't make it a one single issue. Look at
yeah,
your candidates, investigate what they do behind, look at their voting records, and start locally. Everybody ignores these local elections, and it kind of contributes to everything that's going forward. If they're going to make it a state issue, I can't stress enough, start in your own backyard right now. Even if you don't think your state is at risk, okay? Once this happened, all states are at risk, regardless of where they stand right now. It is only the political climate that makes it otherwise, right? And it's up to us to set the political climate in our own states.
right.
Mm.
Yeah. I used to have a
Yeah,
lot of the same mindsets, Kim, of like, well, I'm just one person. Like, what the
I
hell am
know.
I going to do? And like,
It's
no one's
hard to
going to
get out
see
of that.
me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I honestly didn't, as bad as it sounds, I didn't vote until the 2016 election
Mm-hmm.
because I knew I was like, I have to add my voice to this. Like, I can't
Right.
sit
This
back
is
anymore.
this is a perfect example of or how that
Hmm.
works. A certain chicken restaurant from the US opened, and we know who you're talking about, in the UK. And UK customers was told them to go F themselves because of their homophobia, which is true. Or
Uh-huh.
they have now closed and run away and taken their ignorance with them. And you know what? That chain is suffering a little bit. We have that
Yeah.
even here in Iowa Blue State, very liberal. in most things in the way they feel. And that particular chain was still operates here. They close on Sundays. They also are a company that does not offer birth control or
Right.
any kind of contraceptive management in their healthcare plans for their employees, which is against the rights of women, because it's
Yes.
a need that only women have, and they actually regulated it out. They won't have it. They don't pay for any of the services like that or any kind of counseling like that or anything to do with it. And they close on Sunday, and they are very, very anti-gay, including into their petitions, protests, and advertising. Like,
Yes.
it's bad. Like, they actually throw their money behind it.
Oh,
Now,
yeah,
that's
they
what you
do.
got to watch for. Now, I believe in everybody's personal opinion, okay? But when a company throws their money behind anti anything,
Yeah,
that's a red flag.
it
Okay.
is. It's a
All
big
right.
red
Mhm.
flag.
Because that's not smart business anyway. They're not all right. So I don't think they deserve to be successful. Okay. If they're going to run their business on a personal belief, like, okay,
Right.
okay. Anti anything. They're throwing their money into anti anything. You need to whoop. You need to look up. You need to really start looking at them, because I'm going to tell you, their chicken sandwich is no better than anybody else's chicken sandwich.
Right.
Come on, like,
Mhm.
walk a couple of feet down the road to the other chicken sandwich place, or get
Yeah.
a fish sandwich, or a burger. Like, I'm saying it's not that. I realize it takes a little more thought and a little more effort, but is it not worth it for personal freedom?
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently that's where we are now, people.
Yeah.
That's where they put us. Okay. Yeah, and it wasn't this one issue that did it. It's been common for some time. But if you
Mhm.
do not start voting, you have no voice. If you don't start using your voice, you have no vote. It goes both ways. All right?
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
money talks more than anything here.
It does.
Well, anyway, I think we should wrap it up. I think
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
any last words? You go.
I just want to say thanks. Thanks to everybody that came. Thanks for you two and Claire for letting us come on with you, and like
Oh gosh. Are you
it gets a
kidding?
lot of the frustration and anger out so that I can be a little bit more level-headed
Yeah.
about all this.
I didn't hear a lot of anger, which I'm quite impressed with. I heard a lot of reasonable conversation, and thank you. And if you felt like that got anger out, then I'm really, really happy for you, Jared. I want
Yeah,
people.
when I get angry, I get quiet, so that's why a lot of the times I just end up shutting up because
Mhm,
it's easier for me to be super quiet. But
mhm.
yeah, I feel a lot.
I want to
Uh,
hear from my sponsors, my managers, and the people that tell me I curse too much, because on this issue, I think I
I
only
don't.
cursed like maybe 5 times. I
Yeah, I
think in
don't think
2
you
hours,
did.
that's a freaking
uh-uh.
record.
I know. I
Oh
don't.
God, you let me on and we're not supposed to cuss. That's
Yeah.
No, I didn't
difficult.
say that. I didn't say you
Oh,
couldn't. I
okay.
said for me personally, that was a
Okay,
personal
good.
accomplishment that I didn't let
Nice.
my emotion, my jersey come out, because,
No,
like,
I don't.
I
I
didn't
think
get all soprano on
Mm-mm.
there.
no,
Okay.
because you
No, not at all.
work tables and everything.
I
You're
didn't flip
right.
no tables, I didn't stand on anything and curse them all out. I didn't.
Mm-mm.
No, but I do know a few people I'd like to welcome into the back room for a sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
No,
not going
but
to go there right now either.
no. But again, like I said, everybody finds somebody to talk to.
Yes.
I'm open. You all know where. You all know how to get a hold of me. All of you do.
Mm-hmm.
In the chat, I've spoken to most of you individually already, and I'm willing to talk more. And to those I haven't talked to, I'm willing to talk again. And if we need more of this, we will do more of this, because I think roundtable conversations about things that are bothering people are a good thing, as long as we're not
Yeah.
pulling anybody else down. Because even with this, there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't any. I am proud of all of you. There were no names to specific representatives or this, that, or
Right.
the other thing. You
Right.
talk about the issue like fucking adults. Oh, there I go. Like adults, okay? Like the adults that we all are, and that's how it should be done. That's what I want for my channel. That's what I've always advocated. And damn, I'm so proud of all of us with this that got accomplished. And it didn't turn into a shit show, because it didn't.
Right.
And
That's
thank
what
you.
I thought. It was just going to be an absolute clusterfuck of
Mm-mm. No.
someone saying something to piss somebody else off, and then you you're listening to respond. You're not listening to comprehend and
Right.
find, like,
Mhm.
you know, that's the worst you can do. You're just listening to, like, not have a mutual agreement on something. You're just listening to, like, that you can finally have that moment where you can talk. And you
No,
didn't
and
hear a word of it.
yeah, you know what, Jared? Like, you've thrown out a couple of compliments to me that I'm overwhelmed with the fact that you find this to be a safe space, or that the chat does, or anybody does, because that is what I want for everyone, not just here,
Yeah.
but somewhere in their life. Find that and have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation where you're not judged, where you could just get it out, so you can move forward and we could do something about this. We
Yeah.
can
You're the
actually,
only channel I come on. So, yeah,
well, damn,
you're the
now
only one that gets me.
just give me a big head. Why don't you?
I like to stroke the ego.
I know. Well,
Claire knows that I stalk her anyway.
wrong show, but everybody knows I'm all for the grope and the stroke. You know,
Oh, nice.
I'm definitely. It might be the wrong show, but that is how I live.
Yeah.
What can I say?
We can't end it without some groping and stroking. It's
I
not.
know.
It doesn't. It wouldn't make sense if it stayed all
Jen
PG.
says they're passing out
It would.
group
It would
group
not
groups
be.
anyway.
It would not be a live bear on it if there wasn't a grope and a stroke. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Sometime.
New tagline.
The grope stroke with the bear. Hey, maybe that's a new series. No.
Yeah. Ooh.
Wait a minute, we just gave my manager a heart attack. You realize that? He just fell down dead.
Oh yeah.
I'm full of great ideas. I'm a bad influence. It's awesome.
No, they're only kidding. Don't listen.
It was a joke.
No, the grope and the stroke with the bear. Oh my god. Oh, that's that's gonna be a long time.
As long as I get to be the first co-host, it's gonna be.
I would like to see the intro for that one.
Who would do it? Like, they'd be fighting to do that one, wouldn't they? I would like.
Oh yeah.
Kim, that's a great yes. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, Jared, you and I, we're first on the list.
Nice.
Oh my god! What would we talk about? Gee, I wonder.
That leaves it open to so many things.
Leave it open.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Sandra says I'm the only channel she's on too. Oh yeah, you're responsible for half the trouble I get into, girl. There, Jin's got the tagline: the stroking and groping with the barest bear.
Oh, I like that.
That is good.
Oh my god. This is too
You know
funny.
what you should do is you should make it very cartoony, so very animated, like almost like a bad children's show.
You know what?
So that like you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get.
It's so funny that you just thought of that, because once I go Windows, I can animate my avatar, and that is like, as soon as they said that, I said that is definitely the first 3 I put out as a cartoon about that. With you know that song? Wait, you all know the song, right? Like, just think, stroke and grope. Okay, you know the song I'm thinking of, right? Think like is it a 70s or 80s band, Jin? Help me out. I know you know. John, I know you know. Where's Quiz when I need him? Because he's like my musical cattle dog. But I'm telling you, it is it Def Leppard? I don't know. Stroke Me. Come on, I could see it.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about now. I don't know what it is though.
Okay, all right. So anyway, I'm just like thinking of a whole South Park kind of thing. I'm going to create like some other South Park type characters to play along with me. We're going to be older. We're going to be South Park as teenagers, not the little kids.
Oh my gosh, that would be great.
Oh God, I don't want to go back to the hormonal teenager that I was.
You have to for the stroke and grope. It's got to start there. Come on, it's got to start there. It may not end up there, because what fun is that? We didn't know what the hell we were doing, but it's got to start there. And oh my God, my brain. Oh God, man. Oh, I could hear the lecture already. I'm done.
Jen and Charlie are saying Billy Squire.
It is Billy Squire. That's right. Stadium Rock. That's Yes, Billy Squire. You know the song. Thank you. Yes. You stroke. And I could hear it in the background. Stroke. Stroke. Yes, you guys nailed it. Yes. Stroke. Yes, John, that's it. Stroke me. And then we just got to add another one for grope. And there you go. You know.
Exactly.
There we go. But thanks for that laugh, guys. That's pretty funny. Thank you
That
for
was pretty
playing
good.
along in my humiliation as I walk into my lecture that's going to happen later on.
It's okay. They can blame us. It's fine.
Right?
No.
It's not fun if it doesn't like get into a little bit of debauchery at some point.
I know.
Charlie gets bonus, but Charlie gave me 10 bonus points last night. I'm going to give him 20 for being the first one to get Billy Squire. There you go, Charlie.
yeah.
Nice.
Bonus
Good
points,
job, Charlie.
20. Yeah. Well, I don't even remember what I got those 10 points for, but I was very happy about it because then I got 3 points. I was the winner of the night, and I don't know how that happened. It's usually
that's
mayhem.
good.
I'm not usually the winner of the night, but. Oh, thank you. All right. So, somebody, Kim beat you to it for the link. Oh, you can if you want. I was just going to sign off, but you know what?
Wow.
The outro is only like 1:40, so I'll wait a second if you want to get it. Oh, pour some sugar. Oh, no, it's not pour some stroke on me, Liam. That's Sugar, and I know that song well. It's like pour some sugar on me. I know Def Leppard. That one was hot too, but I know that one. But we could change the words. You're right. It would be cool. It would be cool. We could change the words. Maybe that could be the grope part. Wait, my colleague just opened up a law firm for me.
I think we all saw that at the same time because it's just like
oh my god!
Starts
Oh, Liam, yes, AC/DC. For those about to stroke, it should be grope. For those about to grope, we salute you. Yes, that's the grope part. That would be the grope. Yes, that's the grope song. Okay, we'll put AC/DC for the grope, and we'll use Billy Squire for the stroke, and we'll age up the damn South Park kids, those little brats, in who wants to be Cartman? Who wants to send me an avatar for Cartman? That'd be funny.
Oh, jeez.
Kyle, and I feel sorry for which one of you is Kenny, because yes, we are going to kill you in every episode.
I'll be Kenny.
Yeah,
no, I wanted to be
I gotta
Kenny.
kill you. But I gotta kill you in every cartoon episode because it's the serial killer in me. But my other passion is legal and crime, so I gotta go along with Kenny and kill you every 3-minute cartoon episode.
Yeah.
Dead. You killed Kenny. Dead. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that, Kim. That's sick. Oh shit. Not that it's you, but the thought of having everyone think of different ways to kill Kenny in every 3-minute episodes, creatively, the guy from England with the acid baths. Do we do that?
Oh my yes.
Wait, do we put Kenny's head in a kettle?
Put my head in the pot?
do we serve you?
Soap out of me?
Do we make a Kenny skin suit?
Yes.
Now
we get a Kenny nipple belt.
Jesus Christ! No, we cannot. That we're not doing. We are not making a. No, we're not doing that.
What about a Kenny face mask?
Oh my god!
Real Kenny face mask.
You know what? A lot of them have done that. So yeah, we might have to do that. I mean, that would go with the percentages. We'll have to do it.
I'm gonna have to go onto Bitmoji now and find the little pie. I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna send it to you later.
This is not exactly how I thought we were going to end this stream.
I know. How did
you never know what's going to happen. That's awesome.
Oh wait, Arcade. Oh, I got to put that up.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's how we're ending the stream. Okay, everybody. Goodbye. It's time to go because, oh my God, they stroked